Day 3 of the 2020 U.S. Women's Championship in an epic October for American chess. With the finish line getting near, the nation's best female players had to raise their game to stay in contention for the $25,000 first place prize. Girls Junior champion Carissa briefly surged into the lead, but Irina bounced back with a blistering attack and now stands just 2 rounds away from winning her 8th title. It's do or die time as a new champion will be crowned. The final day of exciting action coming up next.
Hello everyone and welcome back as we enter the final day of action at the 2020 U.S. Women's Championship. I'm Jennifer Shahade and I'm here with Maurice Ashley and Yasser Seirawan as we crown a champion later today.
Yes, we do, Jen. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us and sharing your day for the finals of these U.S. Women's Championships. It's been a lot of thrills and spills and leadership changes. The only question, Maurice, that we have is who's going to win and who's going to be champion?
Absolutely, and we have indeed a great champion at the top who looks to try to continue her campaign. She hasn't won in quite a while. And then we have 2 chasers, the young ones, looking for their first title. This is the kind of drama you want going into the last day.
And let's take a look at those standings, Jen.
That's right. We have Irina at the top with 6.5 points. Still 2 rounds to go. Carissa coming off a loss. She has 6 points and some much needed rest. Dorsa also with 6. So the champion very, very likely to come from this group of 3. But Emily Nguyen also having a good tournament.
Absolutely. And our format, Jen.
And we've got a 12-player round robin with 11 rounds. So this is our 4th day. We only have 2 games today. Remember, it's a game 25 with a 5-second increment. And we have a $100,000 prize fund. There will be a tiebreak if there's 2 people tied at the top at the end of the day. Let's see how that will look. We'll actually play a 2-game rapid match, game 10 though, so a very fast rapid match, if you will, with a 2-second increment. And if that's still tied, we go to Armageddon where there's no increment at all. And if there's 3 players tied for first, well, we'll show you that later. But for now, let's take a look at the players past and future in this storied event.
Indeed, and we have a great list right now as 3 players have simply separated themselves from the rest of the pack. And we're betting that it's going to be one of these 3 who wins the event. I think the math says it's probably impossible for anybody else to win, or a minuscule chance, but it's all about Irina, Carissa, and Dorsa. You see there 6.5 and 6 points. That's a point ahead, bottom person from the rest. They are definitely eager to win their 2 games today and potentially win the title. Well, let's start first of all at the player tied for second, or one of them, and that is Dorsa. You see there that she had that loss in round 2 after a nice start with a win. But since then, she hasn't dropped a single game. Draws with wins sprinkled in, some of the spectacular variety. A great score for her right now. She'll be looking forward to playing her next 2 opponents, seeing whether or not she can actually pull this off. And not so bad, she's playing Talia Cervantes and also Tatev Abrahamian. Tatev will be a tough one in the last round, no question about it. We'll see whether or not Dorsa can rise to the occasion. The next player who really feels like at any moment she's going to win her first championship is Carissa. She started off with 3 draws, but look at the middle portion where she won 4 out of 5, 3 in a row at one point. But yesterday's loss must have left a bitter taste in her mouth, and that pulled her out of first place. Now without destiny in her hands, but she could still go for it. She's got a tough one, Anna Zatonski, who's actually tied for last at the moment. Talia Cervantes as well, not doing so great. So we see a good chance for Carissa if her opponents keep their poor form, which you can't control anyway. But speaking of control, we have a player who can control her entire destiny right now. The 7-time champion, Irina Crush. Look at her line score. This is how you win tournaments, people. 4 wins, 5 draws. If she can pick up a couple of wins now, she ends any discussion and she will win her 8th title. But will she be able to do it against these 2 players? Sabina Foiser also not having a great tournament. Sabina, of course, a past champion, so it's going to be tough, as will Emily Nguyen, who has been doing great and still has a nice solid score there. Irina, though, can she do it? She hasn't won in 4 tries after she was just picking them up easily, but it's gotten tougher. You know she's excited, guys. Everyone's excited to see whether or not she can close in on destiny, just 2 behind the record of Gisela Gresser. We'll see if she can make that 1 after this day.
It's been an elusive victory for sure, Maurice. And let's take a look at the round 10 pairings, Jen. What do you have in store for us today?
Well, there's that crucial game between Sabina Foiser and Irina Crush, as well as Anna Zatonski and Carissa Yip and Talia Cervantes against Dorsa Darkhani. So 2 St. Louis locals facing off. But check it out. All the front runners have the black pieces. In Rapid, the disadvantage of playing with black is not that severe, but still, we've noticed in particular players like Irina and Dorsa are just dominant with the white pieces. A little bit less so with Carissa. But they really play magnificently with white. Can they do it as well with black? We'll find out in a few minutes when the round starts. But let's take a look at the prize fund as well. Because one thing you'll notice when we looked at the standings early, it's very bunched up. Nobody has that few points. The bottom score is actually 3 points, right? So that's not too bad. Everybody's had a win in the game. Everybody has a lot to play for today. That's the conclusion, Yaz. A win can skyrocket you up several places in the standings.
And a lot of money as well.
Yeah, that's very meaningful, the money at stake. And a very big shout out. Thank you very much, Rex and Jeannie and the St. Louis Chess Club for that very, very generous prize fund as we take a look at our picks. I was doing great come day 1. I just want you all to remember that. Day 1, Annie was doing really great.
You had us at the beginning. You had us at the beginning. But yeah, Tata is mathematically still maybe a chance to tie, but realistically, Maurice's pick right now is the favorite. Irina Crush and Carissa Yip half a point behind. Definitely still in it as well. Had a really tough game yesterday against Ashrita Iswaran. So the sleep was well timed for her, I think. The rest, you know.
Yeah, this October championship, you've been on a bit of a roll, Jen. I've got to tell you, just to remind everybody, you picked John Burke in the U.S. Junior, and that was a scintillating choice, as it did come down to a tiebreaker in Armageddon, and John was our new champion.
And then I picked Joel Benjamin correctly as well. So I think, you know, can I get 3 in a row? Well, right now, I think Maurice's pick is looking the best of all because Sabina's been very rocky. I do think she's another case of somebody who's been particularly rocky with black. She actually had a couple of nice wins with white. We didn't really get a chance to look at them as much because they were in rounds where other crazy stuff was happening, but she won a gorgeous game with white against Anna Zatonski. So that's the good news, but still, Irina's got to be the favorite in that game, regardless of color.
Yeah. I would say so, but anything can happen. As we see here, the new V chess look, I'm loving it. Look at that. That's beautiful from board level. That's looking quite grand right there, boy. That's a nice look. Chess piece is larger than life.
Right. That's like kind of Star Wars look. And there you see when you're way down at the bottom of the board, you kind of got that Jumbotron image of the players on screen. And by the way, you see little increment improvements as the chessboard also has the lettering and the numbering.
It's going to get better and better.
It only gets better and better around here. Well done. Well done to our technical staff. Fantastic job, guys. 2 big thumbs up from Hilversum Holland.
Yeah, I love it as well. It's just great to have different ways to present this beautiful game. as I know a lot of people, speaking of beautiful game, I know a lot of people are very excited this week about Queen's Gambit, which just debuted on Netflix. And it's just such a sumptuous portrait of a female chess champion. And will Sabina be playing the Queen's Gambit right now? Probably not, because Irina's playing. It looks like
G7,
Indian.
G7, G6 as the game penultimate round underway. And we've been seeing a number of the bishop f4 lines, and Getz, the senior championship, Mr. Entertainment, was playing like knight c3, d5, bishop f4. But Sabina's just gone for the standard bishop g5, no London system so far, and I'm expecting knight d2, sometimes with an idea of playing e2, e4.
You say standard, this is not exactly your main line way to beat the King's Indian.
Not to beat the King's Indian. It's almost like I use this, not to a great effect, by the way. The game was a draw against Dr. John Nunn. Dr. John Nunn was a notorious King's Indian fiend, if you will, and he worked incredibly hard on his King's Indian. And so I would always be looking for those side variations. And it was almost like you need a great reputation as a Najdorf player, for example. Then everybody avoids the main lines, right? And then you could just focus on the side variations. And John seemed to know exactly where I was going to go on the side variations, and he stymied me very well when I did that. But here we have knight b d2, and Irina has to decide right now if she wants to play like castles, e4, d6, and it's more of a perk defense, and maybe in that case Sabina's outfoxed her in the openings. Yes. Or if she wants to play d7, d5 to stop e2, e4, and then they get into, like I say, it's not really a London system. I don't know what you call it when the bishop's not on f4, but when it's on g5. Okay, let's just go around the horn and just take a quick look, gander at the game between Anna and Carissa. Anna Zatonsky-White, again, Carissa Yip coming in tied for second in this penultimate round, has the black pieces. As you mentioned, Jennifer, everybody has the black pieces amongst our leaders. Let's just see how they got here, by the way. Anna doing something, oh, by the way, Catalan, no, c5. An invitation, by the way, to a Benoni, but since you haven't committed yourself to c4, that would have been an interesting, challenging decision. Anna decided to duck it and play c3, b6, bishop g2, bishop b7, queen b3. Okay, that's definitely off the beaten track, as she's very looking to maybe intimidate her opponent and say, look, I'm threatening you with the harsh d4 takes c5. What are you going to do about it?
I don't like that queen on b3 at all.
I don't. It's not a favorite, is it? I mean,
but actually, it's kind of cagey, because it doesn't just threaten takes on c5. It also threatens knight e5, quote unquote threat.
Right, right. So if you made a
or even knight g5 as well.
If you made a move, for example, like knight a6 to defend the c5, what you're saying, Maurice, is like, hey, I've got a threat of mate in 1, deal with that. But I've also got a threat of bishop takes b7, deal with that. And if you play like d5, like you might find yourself in a real world of hurt early. So
I hate this position.
Yeah, that's intriguing.
So it's a sneaky. Not only that, what's sneaky about it is if you decide to just resolve the central position with pawn takes on d4, knight e5 could still land on the board. Exactly. Or I'm not sure which one is the better one, knight g5 or knight e5, but it's going to have to be your same response, d5. And White might argue, I shut out your bishop. Your bishop is probably not happy. I'm going to put knight c3 and bishop g5. Matter of fact, you could even play bishop g5 as a sneaky move there as well. Whoa, is that possible? d5 and bishop g5 on this move to try to really make you suffer Because I don't think you would take on C3 now, would you?
No, I think
by
that's
the way, has been played about 50 times by some strong grandmasters, and Queen C8 helping to cover up some of those brutal discoveries is the correct move, as Carissa played.
There you go.
Now, knight e5, we can actually, I think, just take on g2 and run.
exactly.
And you don't have any follow-up here. You just lost a piece.
Maybe even worse than that, but absolutely. Queen f7. Queen f7 would really be getting your hand caught there in the cookie jar. Queen c8. Shout out to Vorusian for that insight on the 50 50 games, 50
By
examples.
the way,
yes.
What do you made a point to us earlier, Yaz. You said, Anna looks like, this is in the conversation we had, that Anna looks like she's not as deeply prepared as she usually is.
Right.
She's not playing that fresh chess. We don't used to seeing Anna Zatonski in last place. And actually, she hasn't won a game yet. You made this point, Jen. I don't think she's beat anybody.
Oh, you might be right. She's one who had a lot of draws. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, she hasn't beaten anybody. So we're not used to seeing this. But what's bizarre to me is Queen B3 played 50 times. Clearly preparation then, something that is well known. Carissa took some time to play what is the top move, Queen C8, and it took her some time. So maybe she was caught out there and she said, okay, it looks like I have to deal with these threats, and Queen C8 looks like it does the job. Wouldn't or shouldn't Anna be playing instantly right now? Like, you played the best move, and this is what I'm supposed to do, right? I mean,
yeah,
if you prepare this, I'm ready for your top move.
Maybe
she has been showing this time and time again that she's getting into time pressure all the time in positions where she's seemingly prepared.
Maybe she has some issues with the memory because, Irina pointed out yesterday, you have to prepare for a lot of opponents in these rapid games. It's not just one, although today it was only two. But still, not knowing exactly what your opponent's going to play and getting moves mixed up. I mean, people have different levels of memory, and even really good players sometimes have bad memories, and that's why they sometimes play offbeat stuff, right?
Right.
Like Anna generally doesn't play the sharpest lines. Very, very smart people can have bad memories. It's not like a direct relationship, right?
Right.
Yes. By the way, for somebody who doesn't really need to win with black, look at this game. I see you pulled it up, yes.
Yeah. Irina crushes. She's hunting down this dark square bishop with the moves h6, g5, and knight h5. Again, if you're playing with a London system, your bishop gets out of touch by having the h2 hatch to crawl out of. And from Irina's point of view, Irina's, in my opinion, playing this ultra aggressively. This
C5?
move c5 here. That I've played this position a lot as black, a lot. And I almost never play c5 in such positions. Instead, I usually play knight to d7. I then follow it up with e6, queen e7, and very, very slowly I decide which side of the board am I going to castle, king side or queen side. I don't make that decision early, but I really don't like opening up the position with this move c7, c5, because after d takes, at the end of the day, I'm left with a bishop that, well, is kind of biting on granite on this diagonal. And I'm always afraid that, by the way, that queen b3 move, right, that my opponent is going to be the first to put a rook on the d file and gain an advantage against me. So I'm not a big fan of the move c5. And Sabina said, okay, I like that move. Let me take it. And Irina said, let me take the bishop. I think Irina felt that she was obliged to do that because otherwise bishop e5.
I agree, yes. And the thing that also concerns me is Irina's king. Where is its address? Because, suppose I'm white here and I play bishop c4. That's a beautiful square for my bishop. And, it'll really strengthen the idea that you had of queen b3 if it comes up. And meanwhile, if you castle to get out of dodge, well, good luck with that. I'm playing knight c5. I'm not even calculating.
You did nothing to calculate. Mate is mate. I mean, you got it. No. That's why you don't really castle. Again, you're playing a lot of kind of waiting moves. Again, what I was doing was without the trade of c-pawns, playing e6, knight d7, queen c7,
Yeah.
b6, and only when I had really developed everything and I could connect the rooks by castling did I choose to castle. Now, I fully understand that you like the move bishop c4, and it's a good move, Jen. There's no question. It's a great move, in fact. The only reason I'm favoring queen b3 at the moment is because I'm so anxious to get my rook on the d file where there's this potential discovered attack. And, you know, it makes it really hard for black to develop the bishop because, pardon me, that arrow was supposed to hit the pawn on b7. So Irina, well, I would say not happy out of the opening. Bishop c4 was Sabina's choice. She liked your move, Jen.
Yeah, and you know, we mentioned that Sabina's been playing a lot better with the white pieces, and she does seem like she's in a zone here. Position's easier to play for white. Queen e2, castle's long, potentially, and it just looks like fun to play for white. So nicely done so far by Foyger.
No, but c5. Let's really settle into this position, because if c5 is Irina's choice, for her to let this happen is not that difficult for white. I'm not decrying Sabina and her preparation, but you see c5 happen and you said, my pawn's sitting there on c3. What diagonal do you think you're opening? You're just not. You're biting on granite. You're going to need a b5, b4 to release your bishop. That's not happening anytime soon. And white's play is very straightforward. So I'm surprised that Irina chose this way to play. I think she thinks she has to win, which Irina normally doesn't play hyper aggressively, and especially not in a setting where she's got the half a point lead. I think getting a solid position with black is what the doctor ordered, and then hopefully I'll play your opponent from there. But this kind of crazy imbalance where white has all these chances, this is going to be risky. If I were her coach, I wouldn't have sent her this way.
Let's check in on the game of Talia and Dorsa, because Dorsa is another one of those players tied for second place. And very conventional Queen's Indian on the board. Knight c3 has probably been played like 5,000 times. I'm not kidding. d4, d5, the Polygaevsky sacrifice that served Lev Polygaevsky so well. And this cagey move, rook e1, basically saying to black, go ahead and make a decision. If you play c5, now I'll play d5. And these variations work out very nicely for white. So rook e1, and then we saw the move d5, and now knight e5, opening up the diagonal on the bishop on g2, and knight e4. Well, if white can play like this, if black can play like this and make an easy balanced position, I'd be really, really surprised. I've seen much, much more often, especially Robert Byrne. Robert Byrne was really a pioneer in this variation. He would put his knight on a6 and play for c5. And I suspect there has to be something wrong with this line of play for Dorsa. And it might just involve the fact that this pawn is a little bit too far, like something like this, and just saying, gift me the pawn might be one of the reasons why Robert Byrne avoided this. Maybe VAR will be able to give us some advice, but something suspicious about Dorsa's play.
Yeah, well, this is a St. Louis game, as we see. Talia's actually playing from where we're usually commenting from, guys.
Exactly, the St. Louis Chess Club, the studio there.
Bit of a switch up there.
Yeah, she says it's nice and quiet. I spoke with Talia. She says it's nice and quiet. She likes the ambiance of the club as people there rooting her on. And there you get a nice look at the backdrop of our studio. I miss it. I miss the studio as well.
Yes, we certainly do, without question. By the way, take a look back at this game between Anna Zatonsky and Carissa Yip. That one is proceeding in the opening with real dynamism, and it just feels like Carissa makes one false step and boom, she could lose. Castles, bishop g7. Let's note that bishop g7, the tactic of being able to play knight e5 returned because now the bishop on g7 would hang, right? So she had to be mindful of that as this tactic could play itself, but she still looks like she's okay with playing the move bishop to d5, and this is her stopping point. So this move stops it all, saves her, and everything's okay. So now we see bishop e3 though. Thanks for the tempo. Your queen has moved twice, and I'm hitting it in. So it's going to move a third time, and now it's going all the way back to c8. So from what I've seen, there's a trade on c5, and white has gained a couple of moves by being able to play this bishop e3, queen back to c8. Now white gets to make yet another move. Does that give value to her position? However, her queen is not necessarily the best piece in the world, and her knight is not going to find the greatest square on d2, as its future is not so great. Black does have those extra center pawns as well. So maybe this is going to turn out just fine for black.
I would think that Carissa would be happy about the imbalance that is taking place. So for example, after a move like c4, and you kind of start to look, say, well, this is a more conventional Maroczy kind of looking bind. But then you look a little further and you go, well, wait a minute, knight d7, knight c5, you know, one of your extra tempes that you might have won as white is having your queen on b3. And in a Maroczy, frankly, the queen doesn't belong on b3. You'd much rather have your queen on h4 or d2. So I don't think that's the issue. Now, when I see this bishop on e3, what do I see? I see a pawn. I want to take that pawn. I want to take the pawn really, really badly. But bishop takes b6, a takes b6 kind of puts a damper on things. So if there is a chance of getting some kind of play or pressure, if you will, on the queen side, it may be connected to a move like a2, a4. So something like this, I could maybe sign up for as white and say, okay, I've got something, a little pressure, and maybe my queen will slide over here to a3 one day. Still very hard to say that white's getting anything
She played it
concrete.
She did play a4. My concern is black's natural knight to c6 does stop that, and also threatens, and knight c6 has been played, and also threatens knight a5 to c4 herself at some point. So
yeah,
she's
kind of turning the tables a bit.
And now knight a3 on the board.
Knight a3.
I mean, play is getting very exotic, is what I'm saying. White's play looks slightly disjointed, while black's play castles and can get a couple of moves in, or even just one move. I don't think black's going to feel badly. I think white's working.
Yeah, white's play has a little bit unnatural feel about it. The bishop in front of the pawn on e2, the knight on a3. It's not like these two squares are necessarily good, secure squares. So it does have a little artificial flavors to it. I mentioned a moment ago that maybe the queen would be better placed on h4. So instead of a rook d1 move, maybe queen b3 to c4
Guys,
with the idea. Yes.
Huge news, huge news. Sorry to interrupt. The big sacrifice alert in Irina's game versus Sabina, as Sabina sacrificed on g5.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Check it out. Is Irina looks like she's on the run.
She's on the run.
Yes,
I like that.
Run. She's on the run for her 8th championship. As Sabina just played queen h5. She is down a piece at the moment, though. Queen f7 and queen h8, the simultaneous threat. So
this, I suspect, is what you meant when you said she's on the run, that she's going to move her king to protect her bishop, get out of the f7 threat, say, go ahead, do your worst, capture a pawn, and if Irina can get her king to safety, well, she's the one a piece up. What's going on?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, how you do get to castle. I think she's seeing herself castling and being able to move her knight. And I wish I had a great square for this knight, but I just see material coming back. She's played bishop f6.
I don't know, guys.
I don't like that move.
I also think this is
Bishop.
long-term compensation for white regardless, guys, because think about it. I'm going to castle, say you move your king to c7 and I castle queenside, I'm going to have
2 pawns.
2 pawns. That's why she played bishop f6, because I was thinking I was going to get 3 pawns in some of those lines. And then I'm like, okay, you're a little discombobulated and I have 3 pawns. Like, how bad can it be? But Maurice, this move, bishop f6, didn't strike your fancy?
No, I saw it, but I was worried about castles right now instead of taking
right
a pawn
away.
back.
Because then she can't play king d7.
Right, that was my worry. But she could maybe hope and pray that she's going to get out of it with the move e6. And that might actually stop everything because you can't take anything and there's no good knight move. I'm still not feeling this exactly as, you know, even in that position, there's f4. There's a possibility of an f4 break. Any combination. It's 2 pawns. It's a very difficult position for you to play if you have white right now. And in this position here, f4 is what I was saying as f4. And
but it's 1 pawn.
In this position, it's 1 pawn. The other position you play was 2. But in
Right.
this one, it's 1. But if I get an e5 and knight e4, we're talking about something very, very different. If I could get one move and you get to play e5 and you didn't take it with a piece, by the way, I have to consider that as well. But knight e4 will be the coordination that white needs. And black would be in serious trouble because that knight's headed to d6. And the king is stuck in the middle. And you have to worry about queen h8. That's all a combination of great possibilities for white. So I am worried about that. Matter of fact, no, she's got to have to deal right now. Either she gets the material or she castles. That's her choices. It would be hard not to take on f7. I'm going to tell you right now. If I were playing this game, it would be very, very hard not to take on f7.
Yeah, I agree, Maurice. I think your move castles is brilliant. But it's over the board, you're looking queen f7 because you've got, you know, how often do you have the chance to play queen takes f7 check and not do it, right? It's pretty rare.
Exactly. Look that up in the database. When do people not play queen takes f7 check?
I mean, you could consider bishop takes f7 too, just because it is true that after queen f7, king d7, knight e5 could be a threat soon. So I can imagine thinking about bishop f7, but then also thinking about castles, you know, in a classical game, definitely we can see that in a rapid game, it's possible, but you have to kind of like have this method of thinking of candidate moves here. Otherwise, you're just going to get tunnel vision for one of those captures with check.
Yeah, here I'm not a big fan of bishop f7. It just feels like you're going to give black the tempo she may need to play a move like queen h8. Any trade of queens is extremely favorable for the second player.
Oh, yeah,
bishop f6 is a terrible move, guys. I mean, I'm just...
And he has taken on f7 with check.
I got to tell you.
Obviously. You could have guessed that one.
Forced moves are good moves. Yeah, I mean, because you're going to have to play king d7 anyway. And, you know, you're going to have to play king d7, full stop, end of story. So you start with king d7, and then you ask yourself, well, after queen f7, do I need to move bishop f6? And you probably say,
exactly.
No, I don't need that move. I could play king c7. I could play queen e8. These may be better choices. Bishop f6 is not the first move. And I think, Maurice, you were mentioning an idea of f4, e5. If you put your bishop on f6, you're encouraging white. Yeah.
Totally agree, as king d7
bishop
made
f6.
King d7 was necessary, so might as well have been played. The bishop doesn't know where it belongs, and it was fine on h8 since it's going to be defended. And so putting it on f6 first, just very good point. Very good point. It just opens everything up for white, and white wants to bring as much of the resources as possible into the position, and f4 is going to be one of them. That bishop on a very bad square. This giving some compensation. That said, the king's headed to c7. c7 is not a bad house to hang out on. And if you can somehow get your bishop developed, maybe to d7 and then the queen swings, white's attack is not super coordinated. And by the way, the e5 pawn, I will say, it's likely I kill that sucker when it lands on that square. I mean, knight takes, and then bishop takes, give back the 2 pawns for the piece. Exactly. Well,
right.
You've got 2, so I'll take 2. And if my king is sitting on c7, as long as I have the dark squared bishop, imagine that dark squared bishop on d6, for example, right?
Well, let's talk. Let's talk
variation. King
yeah.
King c7 right now after castle.
f4.
F4, and I'm going to play bishop d7 just for fun.
Well, it's not for fun. It's just the fact that I'm going to be moving my knight, and in anticipation of a discovered attack, you have to block the d file. All right, so we were playing e5, winning back our piece. This
right.
is
So
like
now, of course, I don't have to give you the piece back, but I'm going to play knight takes.
And pawn takes and bishop takes, and I would make the observation that black is under incredibly severe attack. White has sacrificed nothing, like material even, right? And exposed king, undeveloped rook. This looks great for Sabina, pardon me. And Irina really under a lot of pressure. Now, you could try to play bishop d6 and hope that, something terrible doesn't happen, but I don't like.
Yeah, this one I agree. I look more. I thought I would have a move here. But it doesn't seem like I have a move. Let's go back. And by the way, castles did happen. King c7 did happen as well. Right. So let's go back.
These are like kind of forcing looking moves. King c7 on the board. And we're looking at the straightforward f2, f4, and with now that Irina's bishop's on f6. Sorry, Maurice, go ahead.
Okay, first things first. Maybe I need to capture your f4 pawn.
Okay.
Remove a target. I need to remove a target.
By the way, we could throw these moves in whenever, like GF, GF, down the line, down the road, or as you like. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just get rid of this target. Okay, now my bishop has to move. I play bishop g4. You're going to play your knight to f3, and that's a tempo. But you don't have a check of any kind. So my tempo could be a counter tempo. Something like, does queen e8 trap your queen? No, you can play queen
Unfortunately,
d5.
Very, very desirable move, by the way. If you could force a trade of queens, we would stop and say, yeah, the sacrifice, Sabina's sacrifice isn't any good. But queen d5 does go away with the tempo. Now,
however, in this position, you do have 2 pawns. You're looking for a third. I could trade off all the major pieces, and your attack is finished. But you do have 3 pawns for the piece.
By the way, Sabina did play knight to b3, not the f4.
Knight to b3, not the f. Oh, no. Thank you for that, because quite understandably, she said, I sacrificed a piece. If I can get 3 pawns, the reason I actually preferred f4 versus knight b3 was I like controlling this e5 square so that I don't face the consequences of a knight move. Now, because of the tempo by the rook, let's assume that Irina moves her queen.
No, actually, Varusian says that there's a winning move for black here, knight e5.
No. Knight e5 is what I was looking at myself.
Knight e5, ignoring the fact of rook takes d8, knight f7. I guess you could play rook d8. But you're still only going to have, what, a pawn?
2 pawns.
No, that's 2 pawns.
We don't have 2 pawns, but...
No, you don't want this as white for sure. This is the piece is going to dominate.
Yeah.
But I thought, I was wondering about queen h5 or queen h7 even, just moving the piece. Moving the queen away. But is there, we do have a piece in our pocket, right? So also just got to think about taking on d1 and taking on c4 if we wish, but we also don't have to give anything back.
No, you've got to.
And she's found it. She's found the move. 95 on the board. Great defensive move. This, f4 was needed. We're seeing it now. F4 was needed so that you didn't play this, and it also introduced more pieces into the attack. Petrosian's famous quote. He said, "When you sacrifice, play like you sacrificed, not like you lost material. Play like you sacrificed it." So knight b3 says, I sacrificed for 2 pawns. Let me get a third and equal the material. No, no, no. Play like you sacrifice. F4, you got a piece. I'm coming to try to get you. You better figure out how to defend. And she didn't do that. She instead played a knight b3, which tries to get the material back. And this counter shot, intermezzo, Zwischenzug, knight e5. Great move. Boy, Irina was in trouble. And get out of it like this. She's coming up roses, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's a nice moment here also for Irina. She would love to see the queen retreat to h5. That would set up the table beautifully for bishop g4. You could take the queen. Now, exactly at this moment, it's a rook and a bishop for a queen. But guess what? The queen is hanging, the knight is hanging, and the rook is streaming into the d1 square, and it's winning for black. So queen h5 is not even playable.
No.
Bishop g4 would win. So queen h7.
So we're hearing that Carissa and Dorsa are both struggling. So actually, it's possible for Irina to clinch the tournament right now, depending on what happens with those games. Still a lot of play left in both. But Carissa's position is looking a little more passive, and Dorsa's actually in a bit of time pressure. Well, not a huge time pressure, but she's doesn't have a very pleasant position, and she's down on the clock. Most of the games in this tournament, we've seen her ahead on the clock. And yeah, this was the position I was talking about between Anna and Carissa, as Anna just lashed out with b4. And, you know, we'd really like to be able to play knight c4 here, but it's not good with so much control white has over c4. And Anna just looks to be pushing Carissa back.
Yeah, she went
e5, a5, and then we can go c4, and suddenly the position's opening up and all of our pieces are ready for it.
Jen, I'm not that unhappy as black. I mean, the only problem I have, and I agree it is a problem, is my queen is actually I mean, this queen is not that great, right? The queen is on a2, but at least it's out of the way of attacks, whereas somehow the queen on c8 needs to be out of the way. So
queen e8 or something, maybe?
Well, it would be brilliant if I could castle, change my queen into rook. How would a line like this just go? Because b7 in such positions is really a kind of an ideal square. If I can get my queen b7.
I'm feeling good for white, boy. Look at those active pieces. 95, go forward.
Well, again, I just want to see it for sure. Like, you could take, and I could take. If you take, and I put my queen on b7, I feel like somehow the storm,
Wait, that went too fast. That went too fast. Right. There might have been a sacrifice on d5 or.
Well, this is the current position, and we're looking. This is the.
I hear you. I mean, I don't think white's winning, but it seems like black still has to try to find the neutralizing moves, like you're doing.
Right. I mean, you.
Wait, rook d5 here.
Rook d5. Okay, that's a good thing that rook is actually protected.
Well, that's why I'm doing it.
You're right. Okay, so let's see. I take.
And then I take a5. That's two pieces I got. Okay, you're going ahead.
If you wanted it, yes.
What's that?
Knight c3 instead of knight e3 was possible also.
Yeah, I was just trying to calculate. The body count is, I'm not getting in. I apologize. I'm not getting in rook c1. If I could get in rook, okay.
Oh, instead knight c3 maybe is the move, right?
Okay, oops, excuse me. That's attacking the queen, right? Now, knight here, knight takes a2, knight e7 check. It's a royal fork, but maybe black comes out ahead.
Yeah,
so you got to take.
Is annoying. No, but now I'm behind.
No.
Three pieces for the two rooks.
Two rooks.
Position. Okay, I'm back. I'll take it.
I'm still not sure, Maurice, because
I'm not sure either. But
a6, the rooks end up
trying to show some flow. I don't know. I mean,
this knight on c6 shuts down both the c file and the d file, which is great from white's point of view because your minor pieces dominate the two rooks. But when you see a6, you go, ooh, the a file could be money for
Okay, knight
black.
d4. Let's. Oh no, you have.
Which one?
You have a
This
check.
guy?
You have a check on e1. Okay, I need to put my knight on a better square. Knight. If I play knight d2, you have a check on c1.
Yeah. Well,
I want to play. I want to move my knight. Knight. Let's do knight d2.
Because you're thinking, okay, so you could win. Oops, excuse me. I picked up the wrong minor piece. You've got two pieces for a rook and a pawn in this variation, but I'm still feeling that, yeah, black
winning. I need a better knight move.
Okay, but this is exciting stuff.
Queen e1 check. This is crazy, but
the thing is Anna, as usual, burning a lot of clock. And I think, guys, that means that she's looking at moves other than C4.
She played C4.
Like
she played C4.
Play C4. Okay.
Sorry, this is exciting stuff. If C4 takes, is there a knight B6 that was possible?
I'm sorry, where? Now?
I'm taking
rook takes.
Not now. Rook takes D5. We got to look at all of it. Knight takes on B6. Now I have what? A piece and a pawn. Now you have okay, with this position. What's
two rooks for a queen.
Two rooks for a queen and pawn.
Exactly. But again, now the rooks are actually working.
Your pieces are very active, and I need a strong knight move, but I don't have 3 sucks. If I could just throw it somewhere forward, then I'd be okay, but I can't find anything to do with it. So that doesn't work out. Dynamism is in black's favor. Let's back up. And takes on C4 has occurred. So,
and I'm almost certain that after knight takes, Carissa is going to play bishop d5. Now here, you're right, Maurice, the move rook takes d5 forces you to calculate, goodness knows, I don't know how many lines. I went for the more sedate, call it a senior moment, where I just played, okay, knight e5, and I was thinking about here. Now pause right here, because right here is where we do have some action that could take place. For example, knight d6. So the idea is, obviously, I want to take, whoops, I fell up a little short. I want to take your queen. Now, if I can just please get your queen to move, then I'll recapture, and this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good. A lot of good pieces for white. If you play bishop d5, now your rook d5 really looks great.
No, but queen b8, yes, queen b8.
What
in
moment?
That position?
Sorry.
No, the moment you have your knight on the position you're discussing.
Okay, take.
The knight on d6.
Take. Knight d6 here. Yeah. King.
In fact, do you have a discovery that I'm worried about? If I play queen d7, no, I'm putting my queen on d7. I'm just gonna go for it.
Give me.
Yeah, and if you now take, what if I play knight d5 here?
Knight d5. I was dreaming. I was dreaming that my rooks would somehow, if I could maintain my knight on the d6 square, I was dreaming that it would dominate.
No.
Followed by rook.
Yeah, I'm going to play rook
d5.
I mean, queen a3 allows rook bishop f8.
Right.
Eventually, rook d8, bishop f8. I'm going to take on e3. I don't even want to take on e3. Forget that.
So here you could take, and I don't know. I've got active pieces, but I got.
Wait, what do you have for knight c3, Yas? What do you have for knight c3 if I don't take? If I fork you, that old knight c3 move. No. That was, it was funny because I was going to play queen a3 to sidestep the fork. And then it was like, I didn't do it. And rook takes d5. No. Okay. Insufficient.
By the way, I like what Sabina did against Irina, because going into that, one of those end games would have just been like resigns, right?
Sorry, Jen. Let's just clear this up because the fans want to know. What did happen is what Yasser is analyzing right now. Knight c4, because we were analyzing all the variations. Knight c4 did happen, and rook c4. She did not play bishop d5. She gave her opponent this extra tempo so she can move her queen to e8, and she's looking at bishop d5 now as a key threat. So that's where we stand. Now over to the other game.
Absolutely, that was this is Irina crush game. Yeah.
I mean, she's up a piece for just 2 pawns at the moment, but
oh my gosh, queen h5 was played.
It was. It was.
Irina didn't play bishop g4. I'm shocked. I thought that because she would get a rook and 2 bishops for her queen after bishop
just played
g4.
queen to h8 exactly, and now
Whoa,
that was a big time move, miss.
b5, rook b8. How does it look f4? I know I'm allowing bishop g4, and if I sneak in with queen a6, how does that one go? Let's take a look. Because I'm sure that's one of the things that Sabina is furiously calculating, right?
No question. You're trying, since you're material down, you're trying your best to make an attack, right?
No, we're not giving you this. Forget it.
I think this is
not going to play bishop g4, yeah. Okay, so because that's the thing, the bishop.
But wait. Let's just hold for a second. I'm an attacker like anybody else, but I just realized that the rook is gone off of d1 in that line. So let's see it. Bishop g4, queen a6.
Right. So you're saying after bishop d1.
And take the biggest problem, the rook on d1. Get that off the board. And now when you take on a7, king d6, and how do you make any progress?
Because I have f takes e5, okay.
Take it. Bishop takes.
You take with the bishop.
Hold on, now I'm only an exchange down.
I got you, but your king, my turn, queen check. Let's go.
Queen check, yeah.
Let's go. We're taking another one with check. Let's go.
And now knight d2, so then you no longer want to take pawns, even because now a knight coming to c4.
Well, there's a rook.
Guard on b6. That was a little too much. That was a little too greedy right there.
Guard your patus.
Mistake. I played this like a knucklehead. I should have played e6 on the very first move instead of checking.
By the way, Sabina just played the quiet move, king b1. That feels like she's unlikely to get away with that in this position. I guess she was worried about, like, maybe if she played f4, she was worried about takes and queen h6 or something like that.
Yes, that's the other move I was looking at in case this attack of this crazy bishop g4 didn't work out. That's possible as well. And they just, now you have to stop and spend a tempo, and bishop g4 is on tap, and it looks very slow. So that's a solid enough reason to not go for this line. I'm not feeling white's attack. No, I think that black is
too slow.
By the way, isn't e6 possible right now?
Yeah. E6 looking good. What do we do?
No, I'm not feeling it. If I have to play bishop c4, that means that f4 is no longer any kind of a threat, because all that does is force you to play knight takes c4. So e6, if I play f4, this looks pretty hokey. Not to mention that you even get a bishop f5 check. No, this it's good. It's just simply good for black.
And she's down to only 245 in the position as well. So
it's Sabina.
Irina needs to stop and figure out what she wants to do. Just the right way, and I think this is hers.
I agree.
No question.
I think the title she could be up by a point or more, guys. Is Anna's got a really nice position. She's just played the move queen e1, fixated on that e5 pawn. And okay, there is potential discoveries with the knight on d5. But Anna's clock, though, is a problem. She does only have 2.5 minutes. That's like an eternity for Anna, though.
That's a luxury.
Isn't it curious that sometimes it's just a position of one piece, a slight difference. And if that queen were sitting on e7, you'd say, okay, it's a position. We play rook to e8 and you have a little pressure, but okay. I mean, rook f8. But the queen on e8, who defends the e-pawn? And the queen on a1, you'd say, what's a queen doing on a1? And look at this. She decided to play queen e6 and ditch the e-pawn so she can get some play. We were just talking about that queen, and she felt it. She felt the lack of coordination in her forces, and now she's just going for it with this queen move, which, by the way, she does have the little devious ideas of moving her knight off of d5 and hitting the hanging rook on c4. That's something her opponent will have to calculate. This move is not one you want to see with 2:20 left on the clock, guys. I like it, even just for its hustle potential, not just for its actual accuracy. But man, you better find a move.
It's one of those coffee house moves
Mm-hmm.
that Bent Larson was really so very well known for. Everybody would be expecting, the commentators would be expecting a move like f7, f6 to defend the pawn on e5 here.
Look
And
at that.
queen e6 sets up knight e3. Now, Anna didn't spend too long, guys. She said,
she played knight g5.
I'll go knight g5. Where's your queen going to go? Now the queen should probably step back to e7.
Hitting the piece.
I suspect that all you're doing is making your queen a target if you were to try to play aggressively with queen f5. So queen e7 very quickly came back, and now
well-coordinated move.
Anna's got bishop a3 on tap, but the knight on g5 is hanging. She could, Irina
against
h2,
Talia?
h4. Yes.
She did. She played it.
h2, h4. And she says, okay, I've got bishop a3. What are you going to do about them apples?
Rook e8. Rook e8 seems like logical.
Okay. And I assume Anna is thinking that she's the one with the initiative if she can get in the move bishop a3.
Definitely. I mean, that queen keeps dancing around.
Well,
queen,
it's got like
queen
where
of
exactly
6 is the only move I can find that
Right.
makes sense right now without losing material.
Right.
You will,
okay.
you will have a
Now it's
knight e4 with tempo when you want it.
Right. And I'd like to keep that in reserve. At the moment, the rook on c4 is not making a glorious impression. So let me withdraw it so I could set up for rook c2 to d2. Now, if you play h6 and I go knight here, I go rook d2 and knight d6, and Carissa.
No, we're not playing h6. Your knight can stay there. What are we bothering that knight for? Please, hang out. We need to.
Well,
we
here's
need to
the
figure out the
problem.
coordination of our pieces, and that's
Right.
the real issue. And there's a doubling on the back row. Is there a bishop a8 ugly? Just because I need a protected move. Hate wasting time on moves, and then somehow move this knight on a square. Where? C7 maybe?
No, I don't like this at all.
I don't
Maurice.
either, but I'm
I think
being slick, but what is happening?
Oh.
What are you threatening? Oh, you hit f7.
Rook takes
Sorry.
f7, rook takes c7. Big time threats.
Take this and play.
No,
I can't take on g2 because you'll take.
Carissa's going to have to do better than this. Let's go back to
what do you do though?
By the way, I got to tell you that Dorsa Shahade is also in trouble. It looks like she's worse in an endgame, struggling to keep material in balance. So actually, Irina could literally clinch it this round as Dorsa and Carissa both struggle. I mean, she's got this problem that the pawn on c7 is under capture. Your back rank is weak, so you can't just play rook c8, not to mention the fact that I could also just take on a7. Right. And on top of that, if you play a move like c6, knight d6 is in the air. So plus she only has 30 seconds, guys. So everything is very perilous right now for Shahade.
That 30 seconds is probably the big deal, but I don't know if it's that bad right now for her. After
taking on a7, and then if you rook a8, just back to b5, you have no time to take on a2 because rook d8 is mate.
But when you take a pawn like that on a7, just make sure that your knight does come back. I mean, you grab the cookie.
And I mean, you inspired me as.
Well, okay, but maybe you can.
That's it. Blame Yas.
Yeah, no. I'll take that as a compliment. I mean, it's very, very good. I mean, because you do get to play rook d1, and maybe grabbing the pawn on a7 is very, very nice.
But Yasser, what was wrong with rook d6 also in that position after c6? That also seemed to question the position.
Rook d6, yeah. If you, by the way, because my king is under duress, this is not threatening to win a piece yet, because you still have that tempo. So, yeah, you probably just winning or better here with white. Oh, pardon me, rook d8 check.
Rook d8, yeah, a little better.
A little bit, a little
However you get there, however you get there. So Dorsa in big trouble.
And Irina did get the bishop on c4.
She did. She chased it away with the move e7, e6, as we suspected. And after bishop c4, she
actually spent a full tempo to give her opponent a move.
Wow.
Very surprising.
Okay. But again, she's got two bishops against a knight and two pawns. Materially speaking, she's dominating. If Irina doesn't hang something terrible like a knight c5 or a knight d4.
Whoa, yeah. Knight, but what about e5 right now and knight d4? Is that annoying, or do you have an intermezzo? I get the feeling you might have an intermezzo.
You mean something like bishop d5 or queen g6?
Queen g6, I'm not. She's played e5. Queen g6, I'm not as worried about. Oh wait, king. Yeah, queen g6, I'm not as worried about. But bishop d5, I am worried about because it's just a free move tempo. I want to get the knight to b5. So let's say, for example, let's just put a move on the board. Bishop g7. Oh, but rook d8. I want to make a bad move. Bishop g7 and let knight e4 happen.
Knight d4 happen.
Knight d4. Now, is it the truth that bishop d5 actually just says you
might
can
be
get
still good
knight b5 and the king just has to sidestep a check?
Yeah, I don't believe it. Don't believe it.
It's hype. It is hype. So, all right, well, if that doesn't work, and I made what I thought was a bad move, and you're finding moves like rook to d8 or potentially queen g6.
Yeah, I think the table, so if you get some position like this is what I was thinking, that Irina, not only is she material ahead, she's the one who says, hey, wait a minute, who's attacking whom? The rook is streaming down, the bishop is streaming to d5. This looks great for black.
And the grandmaster has found it. She's found rook d8 immediately. Says, let's play chess. Your attack is going nowhere. And it's going to be two bishops against a knight, and we don't care how many pawns. Those bishops are vicious. Rook takes has been played. You play bishop takes now. And I mean, those those bishops, they're killer bees for a reason. You're not doing anything with your knight. That's just going to be game. This actually, you could resign here.
Yeah, comfortably without problem, because
that leaves it to the game between Anna and Carissa, which is also 20 seconds left for Anna, but she has the dominant position now, guys, as she's clipped the pawn on e5. What's going on here? Carissa, rook takes e5 played. Okay, queen has just recaptured on e5. What does Carissa have in mind?
No idea. Where's the discovery?
Well, the
queen d1. She was hoping for queen d1, but bishop f1 is possible.
Oh no, this looks terrible now for Carissa. Simple move, queen c7 should just finish the game, because the bishop is hanging, f7 is hanging. You've got to avoid the queen trade with
bishop f1 again.
But bishop f1, and you can take the knight, sure, but you're losing the bishop on b7. And
you have to take
Anna.
You have to take the knight right now, and then take on h4 and pray for rain. That's all you got left.
17 seconds.
You got to take the knight and then take on h4 and hope you have some psycho tricks. We don't believe it, but
she's done it. Hg5, nothing to be done. Queen takes b7, and we would assume g5 takes h4. Now this is the problem that I'm seeing, though, is this check and take this guy in row, because this is going to be mate.
Yeah, I guess the rain didn't come. Or take on g3. Take on g3 in that position.
Take on g3. Oh, sorry. I forgot that this is actually check. I was going to play rook here. That's actually a check on the board. I guess I have to. Well, if I take queen d4 and it's not over. And by the way, she did it in a different move order.
No, same position. And I saw the bar. I saw the bar evaluation bar just dip dramatically. King
Oh,
H7
no.
on
Wow.
the board, and Queen F7 played, and the bar is now gone equal. This
Oh
is
my
going
God.
equal, and this is the reign
HG3.
that we were praying about, taking on G3, and
Oh,
suddenly tables have turned, and she has
Perpet.
her time pressure. And look at this, Queen D4. How do you deal with all the
Perpetual.
checks?
Maybe there's a perpetual on the position that
Yes,
Anna.
that king is very exposed. E4 is dropping with check, and the knight could check anywhere. This is a draw. That was the hustle she needed to stay in it. This is a draw.
Wow.
Your king is not going anywhere different. As long as she dark square checks you, your bishop can't block. The knight will always play knight G4. You don't want to risk that. This is a draw. Amazing save.
It's one of those things when
it's retained.
when you're having a.
Whoa.
When,
Go ahead.
I was about to say, when you're having a bad tournament, even your winning positions, you blunder away. I mean, this was, I'm so sorry for Anna. She played a nice game. She really did. It looks like she just let it slip right out of her fingers.
Time scramble in Talia's game versus Dorsa, and that one could go any of all three ways.
Whoa, look who's trying to win. Look who's trying to win. She didn't perpet. She didn't perpet. She is still trying to win the game. Yes, Carissa did not perpet. She played knight G4 in Anna's time pressure. She's looking for mate. We got to get back to that position.
Oh my God, you're right. You're right. She's looking for mate. And is she going to get it? Queen G8, there's King H6. Oh my gosh. Queen E1 played. How'd this happen?
She just played knight G4. And now it looks like she has, isn't bishop D4 and nasties? Look at the king position. It's terrible. Queen check. And now she can't, but, queen takes G3. You have no attack.
Queen H6.
Oh, duh.
Oh, but
What did she just play? She just played. She should have
She-
taken on G3. And she
No, this is
back.
good. This is good. This is good. She's winning. Carissa is winning
It looks like it.
with knight E3.
And she's played knight E3. What do you do?
What
I don't know.
It's
I
lost.
don't know.
It's
I don't know
lost.
why the engine bar is giving 50-50 though in that position.
I don't know. There must have been something magical because I didn't see it. It looked like you were just losing. And in C8 hanging, by the way. So,
Oh my gosh, she could have taken on C8. Oh no.
Whoa, the time pressure.
Bishop
And
D4 check.
Bishop D4 is over.
Yeah,
Bishop
Bishop
D4
D4.
follows that move. And what a turnaround
Oh
for
my
Carissa.
gosh.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And the Carissa's
Terrible.
win, and the tournament
It's
is
still wide open.
still in out.
Unbelievable, guys, what just happened in that game.
What about
Incredible.
Dorsa?
Jump to Dorsa.
Dorsa's on the
Dorsa.
piece. Dorsa's
What?
on the piece. Oh my God.
Oh my, what the heck is going on? And she could have taken on D4 with taking on D4 and then played C5 with check, and she was completely winning. Dorsa
Okay,
was
this is
completely
totally different.
winning.
By the way, the problem for Dorsa, no, she doesn't have that problem. I was looking at the bronze color pawn on A1, but that doesn't look like it's going to relate.
No, because she made a different path pawn. But
But this still looks very close to drawn.
I don't know what the evaluation is here. Let's see.
Well, King F4 and E5 is coming. So
Yeah. So
this is very tricky.
the question is the timing there. If I can just, ram through with my pawns.
I don't think so. And by the way, you got to worry about White's passed pawn. White has a passed A pawn coming, and White is inside the square. So here we go. E5 on the board. Black might lose this if she's not careful. Is A4 too risky?
Oh gosh. Dorsa was completely winning. Oh my God.
Was winning. We're seeing massive turnarounds as this endgame. And King D5 is threatened right now. Right now, King D5 is threatened. You might have to
7
play.
seconds left.
You might have to play Bishop F7. She's prepared to play C4. Okay,
She's trying to
that'll
get
work.
scoring. Yep.
King D5 anyway, right?
Yeah, because you can always go back. C4 takes King D4.
Right.
And you're just sitting pretty.
Easy draw. No loss possible there. I would play Bishop takes, take your A pawn and say, let's leave. Let's leave now.
Well, no, but I was like, Dorsa was trying to win. Oh, what a try. Oh, she
was up a piece. This
she
is now
was
drawn.
Completely winning. Just go back to the moment we tuned in right here And what Dorsa could have done was take the rook, followed by c5 check. Now you've got to maintain protection of the pawn on c4. So if you drop, now there's no f4.
Yep.
It's night and day. It's
Game
night and
over.
day. Game over. It's that simple. Oh, and this will be a draw.
She's still in it with a shout, but a win would have been much better. I cannot believe what happened in the Carissa game. Of course, Irina was up that material. She did liquidate down into a winning endgame, up a straight piece, and forced resignation. Seemed to take more time than necessary, but she did get it. But it was this game, guys, how Anna lost this. This was pure street hustle.
Magic.
In this game that she managed. We said she had to take on G4, had to take on G5, had to take on H4 and see what happens. And the rains came. I mean, in abundance, you know, winning this game. And now only a half a point out.
Wow. And this is the end of the Carissa Yip game in V-chess as we see it unfold before our lying eyes, guys. This was a great move. Queen E3 check. We expected queen takes G3, but it was this move, Queen H6 check, that sealed the deal. And then we were shocked that she didn't take the rook on C8 right here. She played knight G4.
But what she did worked out pretty well too, didn't it?
Well, of course it did. Rook C2 was a terrible
worked out pretty quickly.
But yeah, it was just what turnarounds going back and forth there. Maybe Queen G2, Jen, instead of Rook C2 would have made life.
No, we still would have had what? Bishop, there would have been Bishop D4 and then Knight E3 check. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I meant Rook C. What? Rook C2, Rook C7.
Oh, you meant
hold on.
Instead of Queen G2.
I just say, yeah. I'll put it on the 3D board for a second, and it was right here where Maurice and I were saying, "Take the rook."
Yes, yes.
And after this move, I mean, okay, it still might be winning for black, but
but it wasn't, guys. It wasn't winning, and we should get over to the other game. But White did have a defense. We'll talk about this right after. Let's finish the game that's in progress, and we'll talk about it. But White did have a defense. Knight E3 was a mistake. I should say Queen H6 was a mistake, and Knight E3 was not winning. But we'll look at it shortly because I just checked with the engine, and it was a mistake. But what is this? Black up us exchanging a pawn. This is busted.
Well, whoa, Rook takes C3.
She has not. Yeah, Rook takes C3 check, and Rook A3 would have just won on the spot. Would have won on the spot.
But actually, it's funny, you can't even really stop that, can you? I guess you could play Rook E3. That's how bad your position is. You can't even stop that threat.
And actually, Rook E3 is Zugzwang because you can't move. Your only piece to move is the Rook.
A5, and then.
Oh, but she could play Rook. She played Rook G1.
That's true.
She now Rook away.
And now with Rook A3, you have Rook C1. That's why Jen's just bringing her king in to.
This is over.
Bring 3 pieces.
That knight is gone.
Totally winning as well.
Totally winning. Rook B1. Good try.
Yeah, that's true.
Rook B1 followed by King is coming to B4. Yeah.
Well, she took the other rook. Yeah.
Here, I would just give up the rook for the knight.
Yep.
Like the knight comes to C3. I'm taking that knight. I'm just taking the knight.
Take it right now.
Yeah,
right now. You got to go. You got to go. We play King.
There it is.
And that's going to be that.
Of course, she didn't hear you. They don't hear it, the commentators. Jennifer, it looks like that was an emotive game. We didn't get to see it all. But
let's go back to the other game, guys. The moment.
Score for the first time in a little while.
Which game, Maurice?
Anna was in trouble against Carissa at this finishing position. But look at this. When she played queen to H6 with check. So she got this far and she decided, I'm not going to take the draw. And right here, she should play Queen G3, check, Bishop H3, and Knight E3. The problem is, after Knight to E3, the queen could just move. Not F3, but let's say F2 or G1.
Oh, and then you have Queen H2.
And then when you take just Queen H2, thanks for trading pieces. And hello, why are we lost?
It's a game.
It's a game. It's a game. Rook C7 takes on A7 is coming. So there was not a win. Her time pressure made her panic in that moment.
So She should have taken on G3, the move we expected.
Without any question. Just take the pawn and be done.
So this was actually too fancy for your own good.
Yep.
And Queen F2 and says, let's trade queens if you like.
Because Queen G3 was just mating. Because you can't, because then you can't
trouble
anymore because there's Queen H4 mating. Nice nuance. But hey, I mean, playing on the increment.
That's the problem.
It was just a wild ride there at the end.
And if we may, when I said you had to take on H4 and pray for rain, I was right. Because when you take on H4, White has the winning move, and all the threats look like they're building. But when the takes happen on H4, E5 ends all life. E5. Instead of taking on H4, just E5, and that's Johnny ballgame.
Yeah, because you can't get your pieces into an attack me now because knight G4, there's queen C8. So E5 actually creates this situation where your bishop is bottled in because I've moved my pawn forward, and your knight is actually more restricted, and the rook defends laterally.
Yes, and the rook also attacks, Jen, because rook H4 enters into it as a check when you run to the H line. And that, if she had some time on the clock to really look at it, maybe she could have found. But instead, she went very instinctively, which we all do in time pressure, and hope that it was okay. But that G takes on F2 with check, that was the whole prayer that got answered. Just the fact that it was check on F2 and then a perpet. Amazing turnaround for Carissa. And she's still in it. We get to watch the last round. What's going to happen?
I wasn't so sure, guys. I thought the last round might just be like, okay. But it's a game. It is a game as Irina crashed and Carissa yip. Half a point divide them. So it's all about the final round. If Irina wins, she clinches this title. Let's take a look at their pairings. Well, we do know that Irina plays white against Emily to win. Emily is a very tough player, so that will be a good game, no doubt. And then we also have Carissa Yip versus Talia Cervantes. Talia, very up and down, seems in time scrambles. He can sometimes slip up a little bit. So Carissa's definitely going to go for it here. And meanwhile, Dorsa still in it if Irina loses and Carissa only draws. She plays against Katev Abrahamian.
Three-way tie for first coming up?
Yes. Oh, wait. Carissa wins, Irina loses, and Carissa draws. Don't put money on that parlay, guys.
It's a parlay bet.
I cannot believe Carissa won. I cannot believe Carissa won. I really thought this was over, but even though my pick is Irina for this tournament, I love it that we get to watch round 11 for all
I love it
marbles.
too. I mean,
I love it.
I'm like Yaz, I feel bad for Anna because she was on her way to winning the first game of the tournament. But on the other hand, for the fans, for the drama, we want the last round to be live. And it certainly is live as we are going to watch the exciting final round of the U.S. Women's Championship in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
In this position, queen to E1 on the board, and now rook F2 wins, bishop F2 wins, bishop D5 wins, everything wins now. We could see a champion being crowned as she has so many good moves. This rook move, that's the one we all see. Right. I mean, this threat is so huge. That's going to cost material. Queen E1, absolutely the least tenacious move she could have played, and Black has secured a bishop on B3 and a bishop on E3 with a rook about to come into F2. We all know that's done. Got to be done.
Look at her.
And Anna knows it.
The realization has really set in. You can see that she's like, oh my gosh. And even worse, you know, oftentimes somebody, you know, shows me a game and say, why do I lose? Why did I lose? And I point to a piece that they never, ever moved in the game. And Anna's looking at that rook on A1. Guess what?
She's getting up from the board, even though she has only a minute and a half.
She knows it's over.
Her heart's broken. By the way, rook F2 is one killer move, but bishop F2 with the sacrifice on G3 is also absolutely crushing.
So give us the line.
If you play bishop F2, you got to move your queen somewhere. It doesn't matter where. Bishop takes with check on G3. King takes. queen c7, we saw the bishops alone do this march, sending the king up the board. You don't need a queen to do that too. No. I mean, now your king has nowhere to go. King g4, bishop to e6 with check, and you've got to go up board. And guess who's waiting is a giant queen to deliver the death blow, king over, and mate. That's it. Bishop f2 wins easily by force, done deal. And she's got both moves, bishop f2 or rook f2. You see Anna there, completely frustrated, and it's played the more spectacular line. Bishop f2, queen d2, and now we're waiting for bishop g3 to crown a champion with this kind of move.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a finish.
What a gorgeous line that Jen is going for. She absolutely sees it. You know, all these young players get readings like this at this age. You know they're on their tactics.
Well, I'm just kind of thrown backwards because I'm remembering all of the interviews that Maurice was making at the start of the tournament. Who has the advantage, the veterans or the youngsters? Well, the youngster says, "Oh, well, we have the advantage. There's more of us than there are of them. That's why we're." But what? Maurice said, "What about grandmaster titles? What about higher ratings? Oh, that stuff doesn't matter."
Well, we only do have one grandmaster in the field. Irina Krasher was not having a good tournament, but Anna Zakonski was playing a grandmaster for most of the event, but not this game. This game, she came with some fantastic preparation, but Jen just always showing this resilience, this ability to play pretty quickly, even if she's caught unawares. Her confidence.
No.
I remember what I said about going in somebody's kitchen.
Vision.
This is what happens when you go in somebody's kitchen. You decide you're going to play against a line that's very solid, and you say, you know what, I'm going to prep against this. And she's done it.
And there it is. Bishop takes g3 check. You can't take with the king or queen c7 check.
Oh, she has taken because she would have lost her h-pawn, and that would have been over as well. Here comes queen c7 check, and this is resigns. King going up the board. Bishop e6 check will land with a thud.
There it is. Bishop e6 check. Jen playing instantly.
A straight beat down.
Time for the handshake.
And there it is. Congratulations to Jennifer Yu, our 2019 U.S. Women's Chess Champion.
Wow.
Oh, what a feeling. What
it looks like
feeling.
it looks like she is very emotional. It recalls the year that the first year that Nazi won.
Right.
Oh, she is just so excited. I'm waiting for that smile.
I know. 90%.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, indeed.
What a boss performance by this young lady. She might have called herself lucky
And there it is.
other games, but not now. That was no luck in that one.
Unstoppable smile.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 2020 U.S. Women's Championship. Here are our standings after 10 rounds. Irina crushed with 7.5 points. She's the front runner. Carissa Yip, though, she has stayed in the game after an insane time scramble against Anna Zakonski, where Carissa came out ahead. Dorsa Shani will have to see Irina lose to get in the mix for first place, but still, tremendous performance for the lowest rated player in the field. Let's take a look at our final round pairings. Well, the two biggies, of course, are Carissa versus Talia and Irina Crouch versus Emily Nguyen. Irina could wrap this up. But Emily, a very strong player. She's really come into her own in this event in that she's played some tremendous games. I think just, we didn't get a chance to really look at it very much, but she must have lost her last game, right? To Martha? Yeah, we barely looked at it.
She did. It is not that significant. But by the way, if you look at that leaderboard, it's so funny how chess works. But if you look at that leaderboard again, if we just take Dorsa and Anna, that leaderboard, and flip them. Take Dorsa and put her where Anna is, and Anna and put her where Dorsa is, you'd say, oh, it's a regular day at the U.S. Women's Championship. Like, everybody's score, you have Tatev right up there, Jennifer up there as well, not having the greatest tournament. Annie maybe, having a bad event, but not unbelievable. But that would be the only flip. It just goes to show how the cream rises, how ratings matter. And in the end, it's 1 and 2 for the title, basically, because I think Dorsa's chances of winning this are very slim. But again, it's a pick 'em of the numbers 1 and number 2 in the tournament and see who's going to win. And right now, of course, Irina in the driver's seat.
And they are off for this championship round. And by the way, this is the type of situation that we as commentators simply live for, I want to say. I mean, everything to play for, 25,000 U.S. Women's Championship title up for grabs, the crowning of a champion. This is as good as it gets, guys. And we're seeing in the game of Irina a exchange Slav. Maybe not to everybody's taste, but she's saying, look, I want to secure a great performance. I mean, I don't want to play too risky. And she's traded and played Bishop B5, a little bit offbeat system. And Emily is the first to think.
I would play for the win if I had white, but again, not when you play for a win, it doesn't mean that you have to play risky chess.
Right. One person who's definitely playing for a win, you guys, is Carissa Yip, and you're going to like this opening, guys.
Okay.
A Sicilian, one of our favorite openings to call, as it always gets wild. And Carissa, as we've seen, also loves to play creative sacrifices in this. There was that game from the U.S. Junior Girls that was totally insane with a sacrifice on E5 and a chase all across the board. This one, I feel like, is a great outcome for the runner-up in the standings right now. I
agree. And I just wanted to throw this in and finish my point. Playing for a draw as far as our leader is concerned, Irina, is dangerous, because if she lets Carissa tie her, she could lose the title that way. She's in control of her own destiny. So if she draws and Carissa does what she's supposed to do in this game and beat the lower-rated player, you're playing a tiebreak. And why do you want to do that? She catches you at the end, and she feels like all the world is hers because she needed to win 2 games. She magically won this last game, wins this one. She's like, oh, bring it. I'm after you.
Yeah, and it's not clear to me that Irina has a big edge on Carissa as the time controls get faster. I mean, even in classical chess, they're neck and neck. But I think as they get faster, actually, Carissa could have a small edge, being that Irina is not, not as famous for her blitz skills as for her classical skills. So I think she's gonna play, keep. It might seem like she's playing the exchange Slav and wants to draw, but I don't think Irina has draw on the menu. I think she's just playing with a little less risk, but not to make a quick draw.
That's what I meant. She needs to play, keep the game going. And look at this last move that Carissa just played. Do you think she's playing for a win?
Oh, yes.
I wonder. I don't know.
Now, in this game, by the way, between Carissa and Talia, we're seeing an interesting echo of the game that Carissa played with Irina because of the move G7, G5 right here and right now. I tend to think of the move G2, G4 as premature. You're going to need to play castles. No matter what you're going to do, you're going to play castles. So play castles, play a move that you're absolutely going to have to play before expanding on the king side with G4. I'm just thinking that G7, G5 is the proper move for Talia to play. And I'm sure we're still in theory too, by the way, not like G4 is a terrible move or something like that. It's just that I really, really want players to be exacting in their openings and their defensive opening moves. So after G5, you'd almost say, hey, I like the fact you play G5. Let me play G3 and protect my pawn. The whole idea behind G5, as Irina herself mentioned, is to earn the E5 square for the knight. And here we see a shining example of that. And Talia did not play G5. She went for B5.
And then Carissa answering Maurice's question again. Doesn't even take a break. The castle. Just let's go. H4.
Let's go.
Gotta love it. 4 pawns abreast on the from the east to the H file.
No more G5.
I thought you were going to say from east to west. Again, I'm not really a big fan of this move. I just want to say to the audience, if you thought that E4, E5 was a winning move and Carissa missed it as you're attacking the knight and the rook, I'll turn that tables completely with the move bishop b7 attacking the queen and in turn skewering your rook. So e5 is not on tap. The problem I'm having with h4 now is a completely different idea, and that is h5 by Talia. The idea here is if you attack the knight takes up a roost because it's on a protected square on g4, and it makes it really hard for white to pursue her attack aggressively.
Whoa. Yeah, the Sicilian player, I mean, it says g6. And what are we discussing here?
We're discussing a crazy mixed up mess is what we're discussing here.
Because castles, I take on f7, I got e6 hanging. We got, this is party time. This position's nuts. G4 can come under fire. E5 can happen at some point as well. I don't know. It still seems very sharp. And don't forget, F5 could happen at some point also. I mean, this is chaos still. This is just straight chaos on the chessboard. It ain't easy.
Here, I would recommend the move H5, whether it's, as you say, chaos or whatever. The problem is if you don't play H5, if you play, I don't care, a move like Rook B8, just picking a move, maybe you prefer Bishop B7, you simply don't have a good answer to G5.
No, you're right.
It's just really, really bad because if you move, I'm playing G6 and under a much, much, much better circumstance, the knight doesn't have a stable square. Sorry.
By the way, how do you play h5, g5, knight g4? If I don't play g6, I play bishop h3, another tempo move.
That's wonderful. That one I let you have, like take my pawn, please, kind of thing. Let's imagine I play g6, and let's imagine, for example, you capture, right? So you're kind of like thinking to yourself, oh boy, I've got these ideas, but let's see, how do I do it myself? I'm gonna change directions on you, Maurice. I'm gonna go knight to b6 with the idea of e5, gaining a tempo on your queen and hitting the knight, and I'm thinking of knight c4. So in other words, I sacrifice a pawn just to slow down the attack, 1-2 moves on the king side, and you win a pawn, but you lose the initiative.
You know me, I'm not trying to lose any initiative. I want to play h5, and I'm thinking of the sacrifice of knight f5. But you do have, okay, whatever. It's not my piece I'm sacrificing.
No, it's not. That's the beautiful part about commentary is you can say, I'll take that one back. But that's the idea. I mean, that's the concept there.
If you don't know this position, this is guesswork on the part of Talia. And we can see she doesn't know the position. She's not sure exactly how to deal with the threats. Your experience has told you, I've seen Gary Kasparov himself do this idea of h5.
Exactly.
You've seen it. We've seen this before. Talia, on the other hand, to defend this and not know what's coming at her against a powerful player like Carissa, this is going to be a big challenge. You don't want to defend the Sicilian if you don't have specific techniques coming out your pocket, just move after move after move to save yourself. And this A3 move that she got in the opening, making B4 not a move to disturb the equanimity of the knight on C3, this is concrete world we're living in right now. Black better play the right things, but she's about to get blown off the board.
I think so, Maurice. This is not something, I mean, this is just so easy to play for white. Black has to be prepared for these crushing ideas that Carissa has up her sleeve. Oh, big
Okay.
opportunity, by the way. And let's
The
take a look at.
big move is knight c5. If you're not going to play h5, the alternative is knight c5, by the way. The idea here is that g5, you're hoping that
meant
as
by
you
knight
enter
e4.
this, how do you say, this chaotic, explosive position, you have time for bishop b7 and skewering the rook. So this is the stuff that Talia is trying to calculate with very little time on the clock, a rapid game. Sorry, yeah, Jen, you wanted to take us somewhere. Where would you like me to go?
Well, I mean, I'm fixated on this game, but let's take a quick look at Dorsa versus Tatev, as that game is
That
also.
was a French defense, yes.
And please go to Irina's game after this when you're done, because Irina did get exactly what she wanted in the opening. That's Irina. That's precisely the kind of opening she wants. But here, Dorsa has the white pieces against Tatev.
Yes, and I have no idea. You know, every French defense player knows that the light square bishop is the problem piece. And man, there are problem pieces, and then there's really problem bishop. The bishop on c8 looks, I don't know what c7, c6 is. If that's their, you know, slap me silly, I don't like that move at all. I'm much more familiar with ideas of a6 and b5 and bishop b7 in these positions. I just don't know what c6 does to enhance the bishop. We're jumping to the game between Irina and Emily, because that when we left it, it was this Slav defense, exchange Slav, I'm sorry, with bishop f5. And okay, Irina's got very good, very nice, very safe castles. And she's got on her agenda queen a4 and rook c1. And Emily could be in real trouble like that.
Don't forget about knight e5. Did you mention that one too?
Nope. Didn't.
You know, it's really nice when you're playing all those moves and you don't mention another nice little move, knight e5. That's,
yeah.
None of us wants to be in this position. None of us on this commentary team wants this position as black. Like, no how, no way, we're not defending it.
Well, exactly. So if I'm in black's shoe, okay, Emily made a move that I like. I think that that's kind of one of those moves that has a dual purpose. You definitely know that c6 is your target pawn, and you're planning to meet queen a4 with queen b5, so it has a dual purpose type of moves. I was thinking, since white's play is so straightforward, this rook on f1 is definitely going to c1. You, as black, you might want to have thrown in this move first to get a situation where, who knows, maybe the bishop has some ideas of b5. She didn't do that. She went queen b6, and now I'm really worried, how will Emily handle queen b3? Again, I'm just playing for the very straight, what you just said, Maurice, knight e5 and rook on fc1, and I'm saying, give me that putty cat.
Yeah, that looks like food. That,
looks
I
good.
I was streaming. That's what I was looking for. I was streaming on Twitch, the second time I've ever done it, a few days ago. And I was streaming on Twitch, and I said, it was later in the day, and I said, that looks like food to some situation. And the more I spoke, I started using references like eat, I'm gonna snack on that. And I started saying, wait a second, I'm hungry. And then I realized that I was hungry. So I said, let me not keep talking about chess and food references. But then I couldn't stop. Just the whole time. I just kept making food references, eat this, take a bunch on that. Well, the whole time in the show, people were laughing at me as that kept happening. But, in chess, it looks like food. We're eating it. That's it. We're munching on a free pawn. Let me get that snack.
Absolutely, guys. I mean, when they do experiments, to see what happens to a body when you have like just a little bit less calories than normal, people just have all these fantasies and dreams of cake and ice cream. It's pretty funny.
By the way,
they even see it. They see it everywhere. They read the word more quickly. It's crazy. So anyway, in this position, we like Irina's game, but she didn't play Queen B3 actually. She just played Knight to B3. So clearly, she wants to occupy C5 with a piece and not rush on trading queens. Okay, I would have expected Queen B3 from her too, guys. So this does surprise me a little bit.
I think she's keeping a little bit more in the position with her queen on, say, just in case the endgame is not winning enough, let me keep the queens on. I do agree, though, Queen B3 looked superb. But that said, she's not in any danger. Looks like if she wins the whole thing. But somebody who has to win is Carissa. And we did see the maneuver that we talked about with H5 Yaz, G5, and G6. She's saying one thing on her mind, and it's seek and destroy. That's it. She's not playing any quiet moves. She's playing the most aggressive move in the position every time she can play it.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by Talia's decision, knight takes F2 here. One of the nice things about this knight is actually it really kind of gummies up White's attack. Like it's very clear that this bishop is going to go to H3, it's going to target E6, the rook is going to go to G1, half open G file, let's go. When you trade off this knight, you're left in a position where it's going to be awfully hard for Talia to plug up the file, the G file, as well as the diagonal on H3. That pawn on E6 is really weak. In fact, it's so weak, the only protection it has is the king.
Well, and knight F6 just got played, so she's trying to answer both your questions. Bishop guarding E6 and the knight being able to go to the G4 square just in case.
But I'm going to be able to... I know this in F5 coming, E5 coming. No, this is too strong for Carissa, guys. Too strong. Carissa's in heaven right now.
Oh, yeah. I would love it as well.
She's up 10 minutes, too. She's up 10 minutes. Well, 8 now. She's up 8 minutes on the clock. Her position is beautiful. It's easy to play for White. I think this just couldn't have gone better for Carissa now.
Agreed.
She has margin of error here. I think that's the problem. Usually in the Sicilian, you make like one screw up and you lose. Here it feels like Carissa could choose like a number of paths and still Black is just in big trouble.
Yeah, and just as a comparison, for example, if Talia had left this knight on the board, you could see that from Talia's point of view, she's ready to play rook F8 and king G8, the kind of castling by hand sequence, and the knight on G4 helps stop this bishop attack. Trading, conversely, just kind of opened up the floodgates, and I think, she did play bishop H3, made it very easy. A big advantage to Carissa. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Jen.
Guys, we saw Carissa go for it with G4 in this game. We've seen the theme happen quite often in Sicilian. Check who's played G4 in her game when we thought she was just cruising quietly. And it's Irina. When we thought she was after the C6 pawn and would just play a quiet life and go for that, she decided, okay, I'm attacking the pawn. All right, let me go after it. You defend it. You expect some solid move to build upon the pawn, natural play. She said, G4 on the other side of the board. What an aggressive stance to take. What's she after here? I know that Black was threatening C5, by the way. Black was looking to play C5, but G4.
I think we just followed up with H4, and then you're forced to play H6 or H5 to save your bishop. And our position is fantastic if we just take on G6, and your pawns are just terrible. H6. You play H5 instead. Okay, knight G6, pawn G6, and G5.
Funny that H5 was a recipe for both G4 moves. But the badness of the Black pawns is really somewhat
the badness.
relative.
I like that. Yeah.
Emily decided to play bishop b4, by the way. So she's thinking, I guess, that she'd like to induce the move f3 before she plays bishop g6.
But wait. You just occupied a square.
Not sure what that changed.
That the knight wanted to go to, potentially.
Right.
What's G5 here? G5 you have to play 98, right? In the main position, sorry, not this position yet. On bishop e4, could we refute G5 on the first move? after bishop to e4?
G5 on the first.
Yeah, just
Oh,
right
she
now.
played bishop e4. Oh,
That's what I'm
no,
saying.
oh, sorry. Okay, I got the wrong position. I was thinking that she played bishop g6. No, knight e8, only move, box, yeah.
All right, now I get c5, but maybe that's just, I'm playing too positionally right now. Oh wait, I have queen h5 also, where you play bishop g6. Yeah, maybe I didn't get
Queen h5, knight d6, defending the pawn on f7.
Well, I can always get you to play this. Oh, I guess you could put the bishop on f5 also. No, this is not quite right. This is too solid. Opening up squares. We need to be more aggressive. Now that we said A, we're going to have to say B and f3 and go for this position. And it has occurred. f3, bishop back to g6. And now we're all thumping the board for h4. And
she's done it.
So much for playing solid chess, guys. She's going for it.
Well, this just looks great. I mean, but the thing is, even after taking on g6 and g5, what's so unsolid about it? White just has a nice position to play against, right? I mean, it's like a normal-ish position, except you have that g6 weakness that you normally wouldn't have, right? Like if I play queen d3 or something, or queen c2, and you're forced to play king h7 or king f7, seems just like an extra headache that you usually don't have to deal with.
She played h6 instead.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Ooh, that's not so good. I'm not convinced that this position would have been that terrible for Black. Sorry, how did we get that? That moment where we just left, I think it was this moment. I'm not convinced that this is really that terrible. I mean, I don't like Black structure. That is true. But what's the bad piece? This knight's okay. This bishop's okay. King's okay. Queen's okay. I'm threatening maybe on a good day to play c5. If I get in c5, king's a little bit exposed over here. Maybe h4, g5, or in the same color as the bishop. I'm just saying it's not that bad. But h6, that says to me, ooh, now Irina has a hook that she could potentially just blast open the king side, and that could really work in her favor very, very well. Not a big fan of this move h6.
I see what you mean.
I think she was in trouble in any event, but this one, you're right, that g5 hook.
Like, for example, suppose I just blunder. I play bad move, rook f2, just saying your turn, right? I'm not necessarily taking on g6 and playing rook c2, eyeballing the pawn, but I just want you to play this move, bishop h7, right? Which looks reasonable. Now you're not falling for knight takes g6. Now I play rook g2, and I say, okay, your turn again. And you start to understand, well, g5 is going to really force open the king side. I'm going to go g5, gh6, and yes. And if you play c5, this is one of the really bad news situations. For example, I'll go like this. You can't take because of knight d7. I've got g6 also to open things up.
There's a bishop e3 check intermezzo there.
Oh, sorry. I have to do it in another way. I apologize.
You have to take first, right?
Yeah, I have to do it like that. But okay, these are things that I'm saying why Black had to play h5. h6 just gives White more flexibility. And Irina, she has
total driver's seat. Total driver's seat. She hasn't moved yet.
Quickly, yeah. Well, kind of a mix, right? Because she took on g6.
And we're hearing that
being told what?
Okay.
Alert.
Let's take a look.
Blunder alert. As we're being told that Carissa did not play the right move. She played rook g1. Just a moment. Hold on. There's some tactical issues based on e5, right?
Right. I think that's the problem.
This bishop is hanging suddenly. So if we take, we could maybe take this. And this guy is hanging.
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yes,
E5,
what?
that's right. E5, great move. Uh-oh.
Okay, E5, knight F5, but that's not what I wanted at all.
Oh, definitely not what you
Like
wanted.
not a chance is what I wanted. But
Yeah, but you're not losing, right? Totally get it. Or take on E5 and then knight F5, right? Oh no, that would have.
Well, no. If you
And you have.
take on if you take on
Mm,
on E5, you're you're are you blundering a bishop? Well, just a second. Hold on.
no,
This is weird. I don't know. Maybe Jen, but I could maybe
I think Maurice's
recapture.
knight F5 right away was probably better. Because here, here if I play knight F5, you can take and then play bishop C5 check, and then knight E3, there's bishop H3. So this would lose, right?
Agreed.
So
no, that's terrible.
Knight F5 right away at least keeps the diagonal from opening up on us.
Well, for black, from black's point of view, whew, a little bit of heart palpitation relief that I get to trade queens, and I don't know, snavel a pawn. I agree. My rook is a little goofy, but just getting.
She missed it. She missed it. She played knight G4. What?
Of dodge there with okay.
Okay,
Remember,
so is to take and then play E5, but there's a check then.
Well, no. Remember, I was saying that it's a very common theme in this line of the knight, or that you just give a pawn. You just give up a pawn and say, okay. So don't think that, oh, black has to play ultra aggressively rook h4 or queen h5 or something like that, but they just play a pawn down and they just say it's okay, you know, just it's a great bishop.
I don't know.
That's what they do.
I hear you, but not necessarily in this position that we're staring at.
Oh, no, we were looking at E5. I think she missed E5.
Oh, E5 is what you were saying. Okay. This position.
No,
I didn't realize.
I'm sure she missed E5. E5 was better, but knight G4 is not terrible. It's not a bad move. E5 was better.
All right. Now the decision, and she did
Castles.
not take on G4. She castled.
Stacking the pawn on H4.
Move. No.
Pieces.
She's playing the most aggressive move. I think she's literally in her brain. It's play the most aggressive move you could play on every single move, because she didn't even bother to look at rook takes G4. She just said, whatever, I'm not playing moves like that. I'm going to castle, I'm going to attack, and I'm going to attack, and I'm going to attack G6. I'm just going to keep attacking until something happens. It's the formula for this game, even giving up this H pawn.
Maybe she was afraid of queen H5. Maybe Carissa, I mean, you like grabbing pawns. I'm sure Carissa had a very concrete reason why she didn't take, but okay, she did castle, and she is offering a pawn. So what's her idea? What's White's follow-up to rook takes H4?
F5? What else can you play? E5 is possible too, but I'm not sure which one.
F5, E5?
F5, E5. Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry. My bad. My knight's hanging. All right, so E5.
So E5. Okay, now my king, I'm not a big fan. I agree, I'm not a big fan, but let's put my king a little bit out of harm's way.
Hold on. I want to play knight E4 just for a freebie before I took on E5. I want to know where your queen's going to go first. Ooh, and I'll have a knight G5 check. Okay, now we're talking. Your rook is hanging on H4.
Knight E5 check.
Knight G5. Knight G5 to block your defense. And then take back on G5 with the discover check. So this is going to be a whole rook. Knight check.
G5 check. And queen takes H4. Shy. Shoot. So have to do something else. I'm not a big fan. If I go D5, then F5, looks pretty good. Okay,
She took-
Talia's played rook h4,
All
and
right.
now it's the money moment right here, guys. Carissa, like you said, Maurice, she's been playing ultra aggressive, like crazy. The most aggressive move you can
E5's
make.
coming. I'm betting money on E5.
I like it.
What's your
E5
other
with
move?
The idea of 94,
Anyway,
dying to do it.
yeah. What other move is there anyway? Because F5 was a blunder. So E5, and let's find another move even. Let's find an alternative.
King B1.
No,
relax. Just relax. Queen.
She's not playing any of those moves. She's playing E5 and go thump. This is going to be the cave woman playing a move.
Okay. Ooh, I'm not sure Jen's gonna like that cave woman.
Well, when you say caveman, she usually edits and says cave woman. So
yes, I'm okay with
person.
it. She's going for it, guys. We
cave
get it.
person. So after bishop b7, I don't know a better move. I don't know what else.
I'm playing F. I have to play F5. She's gonna play F5, and just go for it.
So what's the big idea?
Oh, that's nice.
The big idea, we're taking on E7 and playing queen F7 check. E6 and playing queen F7 check if you're knight. Oh, and now knight F5 comes in. Check. Knight F5. E5 on the board. And she played it. She played it. She's going for it. Absolutely. And this looks crushing in this position in front of us. Analysis.
Bishop B7 is the only move right now.
Sorry?
She played
Bishop B7, says VAR.
She played D5 instead.
Oh,
and how can
she played it instantly
be resisted? How could you possibly resist playing it? She wants to stop knight E4 and not move her bishop away.
So F5 takes, Maurice?
No, I don't even know. I don't even know the next move.
I
just couldn't resist playing the move. Okay, let me look. Hold on.
I don't care.
It's the most aggressive move. You play it. Okay, now what do we need to do against this? Because my queen is actually pinned. In this position.
They're playing for the women's championship.
No, we're commentators. We can sack anytime we want. Okay, I don't have a natural follow-up. E6 doesn't get the job done. B4 doesn't get the job done.
All right, well, VAR's filling us in with a correct move. He said that rook H1 is the strongest move winning.
What? I mean, yes, and what? She's not playing rook H1. That's deep, and I'd be really impressed if rook H1 lands on the board. That's a high class move. That says that the position is stable. As you look at it, you can argue the position is stable. I don't need to do anything now because it's stable. And so I can trade off all the right defensive pieces and go get you. But this takes time and patience.
We've sacked a pawn, but you've got lots of weaknesses. So it's not like we've sacked a piece and we need to immediately show some brilliant lines.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. She's instead played queen G2. Now we're talking.
F5 and
she wants to play F5. That makes sense to me. That's a beautiful move.
Queen
That's a beautiful move.
Love that move. You're right. Because before F5, we couldn't take back with the knight because queen F2, and now also D5. Oh, this is nice.
Yeah,
nice
that's a move. That's quality looking move to me in the attack. Not leave the rook on H1 alone, on H4 alone. Yes, maybe the computer says it's winning, but leave it alone and play like
King G8. Just play King G8 and just your turn. I'm not sure I understand the move Queen G2. Help me out here, guys.
Okay, what do you want to play? You want to play King G8, you say?
Yeah, just get out of dodge. The king is dangerous. King is living too dangerous. Okay, I'll take that. That helps.
And then knight
greedy. I keep forgetting how greedy you are.
Knight takes D5, rook A7. So I get out of any trickeries and I finally develop my rook. Yes.
But your queen can't hold your bishop. So wait, no, but I don't get that. Oh, knight C6?
No,
hello.
Interesting.
Knight C6.
Yeah. Okay. Check.
He's got a little check ski. That's a bit annoying.
Okay, move my king.
Okay, but hey, hold on. Time out. Here I'm defending with everybody. Everybody is defending my king.
Wow.
So,
by the way, we should this as this variation explodes. Let's take a quick look at the Irina game. Is that
yes? If Irina wins, let's remind everybody. If Irina wins,
it's over.
That's it. That's it. That's the women's champion right there. And when we left it, she took on G6 and played Queen C2, gift me the pawn on G6, King F7. Not ideal for Emily to bring her king to F7. King H2. Wow, that's a move. A5, Rook G1. Wow. Okay, things have really heated up here, guys. I don't know. My feeling is that the king was not good on H2, that I'd expected Rook F2 and Rook G2, but this still looks better for Irina. It's
wild. It's wild completely. Wild.
Okay, let's just go Bishop G3 and imagine what happens next. I'm not sure, again, I don't like the setup of the pieces for white. King on H2, Rook on G1. I'd like to flip them, in fact. But imagine Bishop G3. I don't think.
Why didn't you take on on G5 again?
Well, I was afraid of Rook check. And I was afraid of knight takes G4. So it's afraid of something like this. I've got a threat of Rook H2. I've got a threat of Bishop G5. I don't know.
But your king is open too, yeah? It's not all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
so it takes back on G4.
You can check and probably.
She did take on G5, by the way.
And
wow.
Immediately played Rook H8 check. King
so this is it. This is the tournament right here.
Yep. If Irina doesn't believe her.
If knight takes G4 fails, let's put it that way. If knight takes G4 fails, then Irina's just cruising. She's got an extra pawn. She'll play bishop takes F6. She'll put her knight on C5. She'll have extra pawn and great positional compensation on her side of the table as well. So it's right here. If knight takes G4 fails, and we think it does, right? Because of this.
There's a check.
Yeah, and we don't.
Bishop F6 allows G5, so.
Bishop F6 allows G5. Just a sec, though, right here, because we've got crazy moves. Queen C7, threatening Rook H2. We've got moves like Rook H5. Just, there's.
Var says that G4 does not work. Fg4, Bishop G5, Rook CF1, and Queen G6.
Yeah, we got that part, but we're watching about Bishop F6.
We're pretty sure that Bishop Queen, yeah, that would win the game.
But Yasser's move of Rook H5 or Queen C7, all these moves do come with little bit intrigue.
Yeah, I suspect that VAR is right, that this is really, really, really good for Irina. You just, when the title is, the trophy is, you can feel your fingers just kind of holding the trophy abreast. You're kind of like, okay, let's make sure that I am winning indeed.
By the way, do you think she's going to play Bishop F6 when that check happens? I mean, that requires really some gumption in that position, boy. But we need to switch here because Carissa did the move G6 didn't even allow for the F5 argument in that game. Talia stopped it completely and forced Carissa to play Rook H1.
Which was a good move to begin with.
Which was a good move.
Right?
And she has nothing else to do. So she made her find the good move, and then she was able to win the G-pawn. So material is equal. Her knight under attack. She could, I was going to say drop it back to
knight to where we want to go. Knight F3, and we're playing.
And then go to G5.
And we're threatening Rook, and we're threatening Knight D5. I was thinking Rook D5 too, but okay, we can just play the prosaic Knight D5 as that pawn on E6 is pinned. I mean, depending on what happens, Rook D5 might work too. And she did play Knight F3 Oh, the threats are enormous here. 94 too. 94 is also on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many.
It's a threat, yes.
Oh, that exposed king is the difference. The bishops are saying nothing, and the knights are dancing. And don't let the C3 knight in the game. It's bad enough you're going to let the knight go to G5.
Well,
Which,
knight to
by the way,
G5, rook H1 is
knight G5, rook
lights.
H1. You probably don't even need the C3 knight.
It's lights out over there. Yeah, the whole king side just whoosh, open highways to Black's king. I think she had to play that king G8 idea, and G7, G6 was just way too slow by Talia.
This is looking very much like a victory. Carissa at 11:37 on the clock.
Let's check in
down
on
to less than 3 minutes. So
that
looks bad.
Dorsa, we haven't seen much of her game. I didn't like her. I didn't like Tatev's opening one bit. But
by the way, if Carissa wins, Dorsa is also mathematically eliminated. So
eliminated.
We recognize that this game is just for bookkeeping purposes.
Maybe third or fourth. Yeah.
It'll be a great result. But it's not going to get her the title, as Irina looks great, and Carissa for sure
looks great.
Yeah, and Carissa will surpass her regardless if she wins this. Now, Tatev, if she can somehow turn this around and win, will actually bring herself towards Derek Chani's 4 and share in some of those bigger prizes at the top of the table. So lots of money at stake in this game, but no title.
I'm just looking at some variation where I sack a whole rook here for Dorsa with the move G3, trying to make it work. You take the rook, does Tatev, and then I've got the bishop coming to B5 with a nasty discovered check. But then the question always is, well, how nasty is it? What do you guys think of this rook sacrifice? Intriguing or too much talent?
Oh,
you can't play Queen F3, by the way, because that does walk into a very nasty discovered check. And if you play Queen E4, then I got Rook E1. That's certainly a monstrous move.
Pretty interesting, to say the least.
Okay, we'll see but you're right. If Dorsa wins, it's a wonderful, wonderful tournament. But guess what? It's not going to get her the trophy if Irina wins or if
Irina draws.
We have the moment. We have the moment with Irina. Irina has the moment that we're talking about.
This is it.
Play.
Queen G6 winning the game.
She didn't play. That's what I said. Do you think she's going to play Bishop F6? That's exactly what I asked, because G5, you're gambling that everything works out. Instead, she's allowed Queen to be able to go to G6 in this position. But let's go to Carissa's game, as she looks like she is going to potentially surpass Irina.
Yeah, she just played Rook H1, and that forced Rook G8, which is a minute left on Talia's clock. But Rook H7 check could be played anyway. And then after Rook G7, how do you keep this show going? Knight G5 check.
I would start with Knight G5 myself, but okay. Either way, but Knight G5 check looks winning to me.
You can play Knight G5.
You have Queen H3, no?
Yeah.
Rook H2.
No, rook takes
there's Rook takes H7. So she has to move the rook back first and then play Queen H3.
And then play Queen H3.
All the time in the world.
Yes, Rook H2. Rook H2. No, Rook H2, Bishop E3 check.
That's fine. That's just one check. Move the king. Move the king and then say, deal. Okay, so we're looking at rook here, bishop check, move the king. And then we're saying, okay, deal with the threat of Queen H3 and Queen H8 mate. And by the way, the bishop's hanging.
Yep.
So we think Rook H2 and Rook H1.
A beautiful retreating move. She's played Rook H1. It doesn't matter as far as she's concerned. Find a move.
Similar idea. Just you.
And Talia, no time on her clock. She's under a minute to Carissa's 10, and the position's just lost. So Carissa is going to be, for a moment at least,
in the lead,
in first place.
It looks that
Amazing.
way. Queen H3 coming. Oh boy.
She dodged the bullet for one moment. Bishop C6 played. Not
Bishop
sure what
C6.
that does.
Bishop where?
Bishop
C6.
Oh, okay.
That seems to do nothing at all.
Because E6 is now hanging as well. So that's going to make it even worse after Queen H3. You can't even run with King F8 because there's also a knight E6 check in the position.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely agreed.
Even worse.
That's a fork, and yeah, and she's
Didn't
done
take
it.
her long
Queen
to play the
H3.
move.
She's played Queen H3.
It's time to resign.
Exactly.
Big win by Carissa after getting a second life with the last game. Thank you very much. Anna Zatonski gave her this chance. She will overtake Irina for a moment. Irina still has to win that game, guys.
Let's be go clear, and see if she can.
As we know, this is over. Wait a second. Let's just wait. Let's not leave yet. Leave that position on the board you have on the right.
Flags. Is she going to flag here? Because she's only got 10 seconds.
Yeah, she's got 10 seconds. So let's leave this. Yeah, so you can go over to the other game while we take a look at this one on the left, because this one is just resignation. She's played king over, but we know knight e6 is, but look at this position, knight takes. Irina's position is also looking pretty crazy, but this one looks like you're gonna just mop up. Doesn't check win a whole rook? She took the rook instead.
But there's Queen C8.
Oh, there's Queen C8 also. Bye. That's it. Nothing left to do. And that's the game. Carissa in the first at the moment.
Big score, 8 points. And we see a little smile for Carissa. It looks like it's unlikely to be enough to win her first U.S. Women's Championship because Irina's position is dominant. But yes, Maurice, she still has to win the game.
And she's just played this fantastic move, did Irina Krush. She played the move Rook H1, which I think is just, exquisitely well-timed.
Last gasp, Queen B5.
She's threatening to take the rook and take the bishop and then follow it up with Queen G7. And so Queen B5 was played with the idea of settling scores here with a queen check. So all Irina's got to do is really just neutralize that threat, probably a move like King F3, stopping the queen from coming in while renewing everything, Rook H8 and pawn takes G5, renewing all the threats, and Irina should be winning with King F3. Is there another also? I suspect there must be other winning moves here as well.
She's got 3 minutes left on the clock. Will she find the pathway to her 8th U.S. Women's Championship title?
It's all on the line right now.
Which I thought 8 would be enough to win today, guys, or at least to get a playoff. But no, Irina Krush trying to win both games to keep that half-point lead against.
That would be style, by the way, in dominant fashion. Her last 3 wins will be remarkable. The way she won 3 in a row to close this out.
Let's see if she can do it.
2.5 minutes.
Emily's fighting hard, playing Queen B5. Her only chance here is something like Rook H8 would allow the queen to just start checking. And
no.
Not want that.
Unacceptable. She needs to play the move. I don't know, guys. I'm starting to wonder.
I think she sees it though. She's calm. She does
but 2 minutes. It's going to be 2 minutes left.
I'll get stressed if she goes under a minute.
I'm stressed now. I mean, come on. You
2 minutes. 2 minutes to Emily's 4.5 minutes, and she did
find it. She did find it. The engine bar dropped a little bit there. I noticed on this move, but I don't know that it's that significant. Is there rook takes and takes also threatens Queen G7? So White is threatening a very big move. I can't find a single move for Black.
So White's threat is that, for example, I've just put a bad move on the position. If A4, you trade first on H8, you take on F6 with a check, and you pick up the rook. So you're completely winning materially. And at the moment, after the move King F3, the problem that Black is facing is, frankly, the bishop is trapped. If the bishop captures a pawn, the knight captures. Now you're covering E2 with the knight, so your king can happily move away, and Queen E6 is on tap, and it's a disaster for Emily. So this is the problem that Black is facing, is the bishop is simply trapped, and rook h8 is a huge threat. The rook h8 threat provoked rook takes h1.
Well, look at this. And rook h1 was followed by rook to f8. That's a resourceful move. You don't want to have these kind of annoying little plays still in the position. Even if you're winning, just the mere fact that she had another move, like she's still moving. Why is she still moving? Sit still, please. King g3 played. Now there's a queen b8 check playable.
Or queen e2.
Okay, so once again, we're threatening just to take
queen
the bishop,
e2
right?
I prefer. Queen e2 I actually like more. Yes.
Okay,
you're
so
threatening
we
to
take
well, the bishop is dead. The bishop is gonna go.
Well, now we take the bishop with check, though. That's the problem, right? Yikes.
Hold on.
And
if rook takes,
queen takes check.
Rook f7.
Rook f7, no queen g5, right? Makes sense. No rook f5, queen g5.
Queen g4.
Right?
What do you mean no queen g5?
No, queen g5 wins, right?
Well, I'm threatening rook f3, queen f2. Why are you just winning?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was like,
I'm going to walk the plank. King d7, king d7.
Okay, so that's actually kind of funny because if you go king d6, I go check, right?
Oh yeah, no, I don't want that time.
Yeah.
No, king d7,
knight check,
king c7,
king c7, knight check.
I'm walking all.
Oh no, you can't go there.
I can't go c7. Oh my goodness, it's a knight d7, d8 check. That's
right.
That stopped everything. Unbelievable. And the queen will land on d8 otherwise.
Correct.
Okay,
that is going under 2 minutes. Also, it looks like.
Okay. This is it.
But she
king
has
g3
to play.
on the board.
Play queen e2 because queen b8, king g2, and it's finished. So you must play.
Agreed.
You must play for this move.
But
and hope for the best.
How about queen e8 takes with a pawn? So if you take with a pawn, now you're threatening queen takes e3 check, and if you go rook, talk about running the plank. King d6, and you still got. Oh, she took with the rook.
She took with the rook. You're right. This is still work to do. This would have been work to do, but she keeps.
And instantly, Irina said, "Thank you very much.
Wow.
Where's your king gonna go? Because king d6, mating variations.
That knight coming into the party.
D7,
knight c5.
Knight c5 check. It plays itself. It's a beautiful force.
No, that would have been queen d8. Yeah, no. Now it's clear.
And now
it's very clear. Amazing.
The problem is the king doesn't have a good escape.
She's played it. Knight c5 check, king c7. Emily plays, but now Irina headed towards her 8th title is queen e5 check, and the king's going to run out of places to go. If you go to b6, we have queen b8. Hello. And if you go back, we can invade as well.
Exactly. And this is...
Is it... I mean, she didn't play it. She played queen e5 check. She must see
it's the
clear away. She's done it. And look at her. She was so happy. She made it, and she cheered in that moment.
Nice
joy to win the championship. Congratulations, Irina. She has got her 8th championship after 4 years of frustration. She finally did it in the 5th.
And that is going to go on our instant replay. We're going to see that one on the loop. First place, $25,000, and she becomes our 8-time U.S. Women's Champion, our 2020 champ. As let's see it, there it is.
Oh, that's joy.
Look at that.
That is joy. She deserved it.
Give that chair a little spin. Meanwhile, I think we still have one more game going on, guys. Is Dorsa Derekshani played a very visual move against Tata Barbayhami on move 21. That queen on e4 got trapped.
Oh.
She did sacrifice the rook. She did go for it, guys. G3 takes bishop b5. And look at this. And she trapped the rook. Oh, marvelous. Dorsa has been playing inspired chess. I mean, she will come up short as far as the title is concerned, but big applause for Dorsa. She's really put together some very, very nice games, and it looks like she's winning this one too. Bishop d7 last move.
Yeah, I mean, materially there are those two rooks, but the king on e7.
E6, dropping the e6 pawn. Queen takes e6. By the way, this bishop might end up getting the bishop might end up getting trapped as well. Queen takes e6. Who could possibly resist taking a pawn with check? Not me. I wouldn't resist. I would also take a second pawn with check because that opens up the square e5 for my knight.
And d6 is going to threaten queen g6. Queen g8 rather. And there it is.
You're right. d6.
27 seconds left for Dorsa as Tatev now. What can she do?
A lovely epaulette mate.
Yes, I love that. Pretty one.
Yeah.
Oof.
So it's looking all roses for Dorsa here. I mean, our leaders came in and they performed today, guys. This was a championship round and, well, championship day. What can I say? And, you know, Carissa wins both of her games. Irina wins both of her games. And Dorsa, look at what she's doing now.
Got 1.5 out of 2 today. That's right. Yeah. Well, not yet. She still has to win this. Right.
Exactly. Which she will probably.
She does have 15 seconds left. So,
Queen takes f6. Like I say, you know, I'm a pawn grubber.
The more pawns, the better.
That's the motto.
Knight jack here is played. King b7. You can run, but look at all those pawns.
Take another one. She did. Dorsa, you're winning my heart. Look at this. Queen takes f5, rook, e7 on the board, right? Queen d5 check. Okay, it's time to bring our knight back. Or maybe knight d6 is not the most necessary move. Yes, she did it. Knight d6 check. I was wondering maybe she could have played queen c5 check.
And there is it. As Dorsa will get the bronze medal in this event. Third place, it looks like, for Dorsa. Second place, of course, for Carissa Yip. And we know we have a champion, Irina Cross.
Look at what you have to put up with. All she's trying to do is play a nice, methodical attacking game. And the house cat comes in and says, my turn, pay attention to me. Okay. You go away. You go away, fishy.
Let's see, we still have Jen Yu playing against Anna Zatonski.
All
if
right.
you want to check out that time as we do wait for all the games to finish, as no doubt we're going to get a chance to interview our champ quite soon.
And unfortunately for both these competitors, Jennifer Yu, our defending women's champion, did not have a good event. And for Anna, she's had a disastrous event. There's no putting any polish on this one.
Unless a horrible blunder occurs. She will not win a single game in this event, which...
By the way, Annie Wang just lost to Sabina Foiger. So Sabina executed a checkmate on the board here. So well done, Sabina.
Yeah.
The two amazing juniors, the precocious ones from the last 2 years, Annie and Jennifer, had really poor results.
True. And
yeah, I think
Annie,
she felt like after she started losing, the wheels kind of came off, unfortunately.
It was that day 2 that will go down as just like, full disaster. Annie came into day 2, as we know, with a clear lead, 2.5 from 3. Could have been 3 from 3. And then Annie just had a disaster, 3 consecutive losses, and she was out of the tournament like that.
But wow, that joy in Irina, such frustration year after year after year. And to deliver the maximum result when it counted with 3 of her best games. Look at that extreme joy. You live for moments like that. She totally deserved it. 3 wins in a row when she needed it. And indeed, she is once again the champion. And we can start the countdown, guys. She's got 8, The lady's got 8. 8's not enough. She's got to get to 9. She's got to get to 9 to tie Giselle Aggressor, but she has years ahead to pick up that title.
That's
Jen,
right, guys.
Talk about how difficult this 8th was, though. I mean, she was on a drought. She came up empty the last 4 years, and her rivals are getting younger and stronger.
Yes, it's not going to get any easier. Absolutely not.
And let's take a look at the end of Irina's game on beaches as she chased Emily's king all the way across the board. As we look at it try to run. And that's the problem, though. We were talking about that C5 square all game, but we thought it was mostly a positional square. It ended up being the mating square. Emily trying to create some counterplay with Queen E2. Don't blame her. But look at this geometry, the dark squares, King D7. Once the knight joins the party, it's too many guests as Queen E5 check, King B6.
Marvelous move.
And this got it done. It's made into Rook B7, Queen B7 would be checkmate. And that is what elicited that yelp of joy. I mean, her audio wasn't on, but I can assume there was a sound that accompanied this double. Not just one fist, but 2. Love it.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of relief in that too. Certainly a lot of glee and joy, but also that at last.
Indeed. Woo. Brilliant moment. You don't see that with chess a lot. Players responding with that kind of absolute exuberance and emotion in one split moment when you know, oh my God, I worked so hard for this and I've gotten it. By the way, she could have really been put to the test. Can we get to that position when G took on F6, Yaz? And you said,
absolutely.
Takes. I just put the engine on. You'll not believe the best move for Black is actually in this position. King D8.
Wow.
King D8 and good luck. Find
keeping
the next move.
Keeping in reserve both captures on E3 and F6. King D8. Wow, that is a visual move because for the moment the knight is really off sides, right?
And the best move, I'm trying different moves. Queen G7 fails to Queen E3 check. You can't take on G7 with a pawn because the rook comes in and wins. So, or at least looks like it wins. I won't even bother calculating this. You don't want to play this way. But the main move, the move, is Queen G4. To follow, Queen takes on E3 with King G2. Check out these geometrics. You have no more check in the position as the knight's guarding. But even then, these apples aren't over because here you have the move A4 or Rook F6 even. Rook F6 is probably the most natural to play.
Right.
This would have been scary. This would have been scary to find, but thankfully your opponent didn't defend with this move, and instead she was able to deliver the goods, and we see she's looking around for something, but we do have our champion. Irina, congratulations on winning your 8th title.
Thank you, guys. Yes, I'm so happy.
We saw an end moment there where you gave a double fist pump. What does it mean to you to finally win number 8 after 4 frustrating years?
Yeah, well, you know, I see this tournament as just like a singular event. You know, I don't really think about like those other tournaments before. But I mean, just, you know, after these 4 days of play, I mean, all the stress, all the preparation, I mean, for it to finally end, you know, in the way you wanted to end, what you've been working for, I mean, that just feels amazing. And I'm so happy also, for all the people that root for me. That makes, it's a very big motivating factor. It's not just for myself. I mean, I feel the support of my friends, my family, my students, my coach. I mean, all these people that are supporting me and watching the games and hoping I'm going to do well. I want to be able to make them happy.
Well, you made a lot of people happy, Irina. Any shout outs in particular?
Yeah. Well, okay. Let me start. Oh, my friend Irina, she is hiking somewhere in California now. Irina, she's played in the U.S. women so many times, and now she's a professor of mechanical engineering, and so she doesn't have so much
Zenyuk,
time
you're
to
talking
play.
about?
Venue, yeah.
Yeah, Irina Zenyuk. So she's been very supportive. Let me see who I not leave someone out. I mentioned my students. I have a student in China. I have students in New Jersey, Mahadi and Manish. Hello to you guys, and Rama, their mom, Chloe, Daniil, all my students. And I don't know, hopefully I'm not leaving anyone out. Brian from California, from the Berkeley Chess School, and my parents, and of course my coach, who has helps me win so many of these titles, and he did again in this tournament.
Georgi. Yeah.
Irina, you won 3 in a row, but like 3 excellent games in a row. It wasn't lucky, it was just inspired pressure play. How were you able to muster up all the energy to play 3 games? You had to win, by the way, because Carissa really tested you. She kept the pace. You had to win, and you found a way to play your best chess right when it counted in the last 3 games.
Again, I haven't really been watching what Carissa was doing. So, I mean, of course, it's true that she's been winning her games. The good part is that I never really noticed that because I never checked throughout the day. Like yesterday, I had no idea I was in second place. I knew I started the game, the day half a point ahead. The fact that she won 2 games, well, I made 2 draws, I was unaware. So I didn't, treat the game with Tatev as like, a must-win game. It was like must play. You got to sit down and play some moves, and whatever happens, happens. Of course, it worked out to be a very important win yesterday for the standings. And today was another big day. And again, my only thought was, I'm gonna play 1 game, and then I'm gonna play another game, and then it's gonna end.
Wow.
You mentioned that 8. You weren't thinking about the 4 before that were frustrating. Those were other events, they're done. But you were stuck on 7, and you made no bones about it that this record, obviously it was a long time ago, and in the modern age, your 7 is incredible. But the record is 9. But to finally break through and get 8 as a number, you're only 1 away now. What does that mean?
Well, first of all, I think, guys, there was honestly a clue that I had a good chance to win this tournament, or at least a chance. Like there was a clue. If you believe in signs, can you think of what that was? I mean, did you notice anything that could have told you that that I would win?
No. Tell us.
Okay, right. Joel won, and what do Joel and I have in common? Something very big.
Brooklyn.
Even more, we got an email. It was like other than you
COVID.
and Joel,
COVID. Yes, because
I mean, we're both COVID survivors, and in the year 2020, that's kind of a big thing, I mean, we're sort of like emblematic of this year. And so when I saw Joel win, I mean, out of all these strong players, but it's like the one COVID survivor won. I was like, wow, interesting. Maybe that opens up the door for me,
Very nice. And by the way, Joel had a very mild case. Unfortunately, we know from the coverage in the New York Times, and later you gave me an interview in Ladies Night, revealing that you also suffer from what they call the long haul COVID. So it was very different in your cases. And, Irina, talk a little bit about how that struggle has also, kind of encouraged you to get even healthier.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've been walking every single day for a few months now, at least. I walk close to an hour a day. I feel like that's improved my fitness in a big way. I feel like my heart is so much better. And I mean, I've walked when I breathe okay, when I don't breathe as well, you just do it, and what I found is okay, consistency matters a lot. It's like if you go out, rain or shine, at any time of the day, and you're going to get in your 1 hour walk, it's going to add up, so I feel really good. I've lost, I don't know, close to 20 pounds in the last couple of months. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's kind of substantial. And even during this tournament, actually, guys, I got to my record low weight. So, for just another demonstration of how stressful it is to play chess. Just in like a few days, I mean, okay, like I lost probably at least like 2 to 3 pounds. I mean, that's usually something that'll take you, a couple of weeks to lose in like a regular, steady way, But it was just gone in a few days. And I mean, yeah, like of course, playing chess, it takes a pretty big physical toll on you.
What's the secret
But I've
to the
been feeling better,
resilience?
just so you know, Jen. I mean, I have been feeling better. Actually, just around the time the championship started, I feel like my chest sort of loosened up and got like less tight. And I mean, it's not perfect, but I mean, it's decent, I'm just kind of like, I'm used to a different like baseline of health now, but I feel fortunate that it still permits me to do things like play chess.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear, Irene. And the first time you said that, I misheard you. You said your chest loosened up, and I was like, yeah, you played fantastic, but you were actually referring to your chest. And
of course,
that's even better to hear
because all the COVID things, it's all like breathing and chest related, and those are the remaining symptoms for so many people that have long haul COVID. But yeah, my chest loosened up a bit too, right? I agree with you, Jen.
You're playing some great attacking games for sure. That's so inspirational what you said, Irina. I'm sure everybody watching really happy for you. What's the lesson there for everyone? The secret to resilience when knowing that something that bad can happen to you and you suffer for so long. What's the secret to staying resilient?
Just keep going, one foot in front of the other, and you trust in better days. Arm yourself with some turmeric, some honey, black pepper, and hope that one day you're going to recover, and just keep trying to do the things that you love. So I mean, I remember this when I got COVID, I was just back from the hospital for like a day, and I played Jen in your tournament. Remember, it was the isolated queens.
Yeah,
and I figured out how to stream that. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I mean, I was not out of the woods at all, and I mean, it was still like I knew there was a second week coming in my illness, which was like the most dangerous, and I was like, it's kind of crazy. Like, here I am playing chess, I'm making this effort to stream for the first time in my life. Why am I doing this? And it's like, to me, it was like, well, if I die, I want to do, I want to be doing what I love to do. So that was the thinking back then, and yeah.
Wow.
And not to be depressing, but that's just like, COVID is it was a pretty serious thing.
Yeah, you got to that point where you really thought, of your own mortality. It's hard for so many people who are huge fans of you to even hear that you were struggling with that possibility. But I'm also glad to hear that, chess actually helped you through that psychologically.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course. And by the way, Jen, those isolated queens tournaments you organized were some of the happiest moments of my spring, because I actually managed to do well in them, and I would be so excited for the whole day.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. And the thing is, like, just the fact that chess can distract you, I guess, is also a beautiful thing, right? It's completely absorbing you so that you're not thinking about anything else, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I played my first big tournament after COVID in May in the Nations Cup, and I really was not even like that well at that point. I even during the tournament, I went to the urgent care clinic at some point just to check out my chest pains. But I mean, it was nothing unusual. It was just like part of what I had to, just live through at that time. But yeah, I mean, chess, why can I play even like when I'm not feeling like amazing? Just because, yeah, it is absolutely absorbing. And when I'm playing, I don't feel any problems. You just focus on the game. And I think, thankfully,
Irina, you told me in our interview for Ladies Night that you worked with some great trainers over these last few months, Vladimir Kramnik, Judith Polgar. Anything concrete from your work in these, legendary training camps that kind of showed up over the board?
Like right off the top of my head, Jen, I can't point to like a concrete thing, like just like, oh, that idea I learned and here I applied it. I mean, I tried to play decent chess. I mean, like today was an interesting moment, I think, in my last round game. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when I chose to play queen g6 instead of like queen takes c6, I thought the end game, like taking the pawn, was pretty decent for me. But then I was like, let me just end this game, let me just go for the win. Although it got very unclear, and I missed her move Queen B5, which was a very good try. And I was like, I was just completely terrified, at this moment that I was going to mess it up. And I was kind of like very lucky it worked out. But yes, I mean, I went for Queen G6 and the game did end quickly as a result of that. Yeah, I was just really lucky that somehow I have all the checks I need here. I was certainly getting worried about my own king. Yeah, I mean, so, in terms of master classes, Jen, not only have I attended a number of these classes with great players, but, in the last few weeks before this tournament, I actually organized a couple of them myself. I was just so inspired by this whole concept of bringing, top level players to like a wider audience, that I organized a few master classes with Peter Lico and Nigel Short just leading up to this event. So it was kind of like some nice, I guess some nice chess lessons for myself, that I organized. And I'm actually planning to do more of these. That was a big project that I was working on in September leading up to this tournament, and it worked out very nicely. And I'll be doing more of these, and I hope that we'll get more strong players in coming up next month.
Beautiful.
Well, Irina, you gave us your version of master classes in these last 3 games and throughout this tournament. You didn't lose a single game, an incredible +6 out of 11 performance, and you won your 8th title. Congratulations, well deserved. Enjoy it with all your family and friends, and we're quite happy for you as well. And the lesson for resilience, I'm sure a lot of people will be inspired by your story. Thank you so much, and congrats. You did it. You're the 2020 Women's Champion.
Thank you, guys. Can I just say thank you to Rex and Jeannie, who I haven't seen here, but I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't thank them. I mean, for putting on this tournament for U.S. Chess at the end of the year. I mean, it didn't look like anything was going to happen, but St. Louis once again came through with a great event. So thank you to them, and thank you to you guys for your amazing work. I always just, love to watch you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Enjoy.
Your gracious words. And by the way, we are gonna, there's the moment.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta
That's why we love this.
Cut that with some sound. I just love
Right.
that. $25,000 for our 2020 U.S. Women's Champion. She's now an 8-time champ. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna have more words from Irina and all of our champions at the closing ceremony, which happens after the U.S. Championship. So we have a combined closing ceremony. So that was just some incredible, inspiring words from Irina, as she adds a 4th name to our list of champions. We've got Carissa Yip, John Burke, Joel Benjamin. Carissa almost getting a double photo here, but Irina was able to seal the deal with 2 beautiful victories when she needed them most.
And there it is, the final standings, Jen, and I'm looking in disbelief. Anna Zatansky, many time champion, having a terrible event, but Carissa, you said it so well, Maurice, that she put pressure on Irina. Irina played great, but it really took a Carissa Yip to push her that extra mile to get that amazing score, 8.5 out of 11. Very impressive, Jen.
Very impressive indeed. Dorsa Shani, lowest rated player in the field, managed to get the bronze medal. Jennifer Yu, who really struggled this tournament, kudos to her for landing in that 4th spot. Honestly, I thought she was really languishing, so she had a bit of a comeback there to get clear 4th, as Tatev Abrahamian and Ashrita Swaran shared 5th. But hey, it's all about that 1st place prize. Irina crushed $25,000, and such an inspiring story for many. And honestly, I'm so happy for her for winning the title, but I'm also just really happy for her that she, after months and months of battling, she's saying just before this championship, she's feeling better. I mean, come on, like, health is in the end the most important thing. So a huge smile for my friend Irina Crush on both of those notes. Coming your way soon, the U.S. Chess Championship starting on October 26th. Sunday, we are going to have a rest day, and then we are going to bring you a champion by Thursday night.
Marvelous. Our fifth and final championship on this championship October. It's been very, very special. Throughout the broadcast of these 4 days of the U.S. Women's Championships, we've been showing you some vintage footage of previous U.S. Women's Champions. And I've got to tell you guys, there's some really emotional moments and those moments of victory. And we saw another emotive moment in 2020.
If you string those together, guys, it would definitely bring a tear to your eyes. The way they have been so grateful, whether it was Nazi's first win, Sabina winning three or so months after her mother passed away just prematurely, certainly Jen's win as well. And the lesson that Irina brought, and I had a friend pass just recently, Sharu Robinson, and I tell everyone, play like it's your last day, enjoy life like it's your last day. And it's great to see Irina say, I got that lesson. And I'm loving that I can play and do what I love. That's how you should live life.
And Jennifer, we want you to do a countdown for us, please.
Anna Zatonski, such a formidable champion. This was not her event, so she did end in last. A very surprising finish for such a great player. But we know that she will be back with some strong moves in the future, as her love for chess is really eternal. And Talia Cervantes, who ended up tied for 9th, but always a very entertaining player, plays some really fun games, but she did end in that tie for 9th, as this was her first outing, so many more for the St. Louis end. She was born in Cuba, but she lives there now. Sabina Foizier had some really nice wins with the white pieces, and she even beat Anna Zatonski in a gorgeous game, but not enough wins to finish in the top of the cross table. She ends tied for 9th for $3,000. Next up, we had international master Annie Wang. Wow, what a great start, but after that, she really faded, Yaz, as she seemed to lose a number of games, and with it, maybe her confidence, because we know that Annie is incredibly strong and would normally be up there at the top.
Yeah, it's like the wheels fell off after the first day, and she never got the momentum back that she needed in a tournament like this. But Annie, thank you so much for your participation and all the chess that you brought us. It was great watching your games, really. Good luck.
And we had Martha Samarashvili, 8th place for $4,000. We saw her in the girls tournament. We also saw her in her first U.S. Women's Championship appearance, as she won a seat in the National Girls Tournament of Champions, otherwise known as the Ruth Harry Memorial. And she really did put on quite a show here.
Yeah, very credible result, 8th place, first outing. Well done.
Yeah, we missed some of her wins, but she had some impressive ones. Emily Nguyen, playing and fighting hard against the champion in the last round, and was actually tied for 2nd at one point in the tournament. Emily in the past in this tournament, she hasn't ever been there at the top of the cross table. So expect more from this 18-year-old who just started Stanford University.
Boy, that's hard. Mixing a U.S. Women's Championship with Stanford University, good luck with that. But nice, Emily, that you contested so well.
Another great chess player scholar, Ashritha Swaran. Her games were always so fun and entertaining. Even the one against Irina, which could have changed everything in this event. She's also a great student, UC Berkeley, and takes home $7,000 for what started as an awful performance, but she turned it around.
Tying for 5th place, indeed. Well done, Ashritha.
Tatev Abrahamian started out strong, but unfortunately for her, she lost the last round game to take away her chances of finishing at the podium. Fantastic games by Tatev as always. She plays so inspired, but wasn't her year. $7,000 though, not a bad consolation for a tough up and down tournament. Jennifer, you are defending champ, was never really in the running for 1st place, but this is a very nice finish for her considering how the rest of the event went. She got 4th place, $10K, and I think that she playing classical chess, even stronger than her rapid and blitz. So expect a lot more from this 18-year-old Harvard freshman.
Absolutely. And the lady who really brought the entertainment to this 2020 Women's World Champion, U.S. champion, Dorsa, Jen.
That's right, the lowest rated in the field, but fighting for first place. Completely unexpected. The SLU student takes home $13,000 for her third place finish.
Well done, Dorsa.
Is the cat gonna get a cut?
And maybe a Friskies dinner.
As we have international master Carissa, three-time U.S. Junior Girls Champion. What a performance at the end. She kept Irina on her toes as Carissa takes home $18,000 for a fat score of 8 out of 11. Normally we would think that would be enough for a playoff, but not this time.
Definitely, Carissa, congratulations. You're pushing Irina to her limits, and that's what it took, Jen.
That's right. Grandmaster Irina Krush takes home $25K and her 8th U.S. Women's Championship title.
Bravo, bravo, Irina. Well done.
And some great games. Some gorgeous
Amazing
games. Some inspiring games as we are inspired by her moves on the board and her very wise words. Awesome. And wow, I finally didn't win, guys. As Maurice pick, Grandmaster Irina Krush did get it done. And I got the runner-up pick as Yaz and Var. Great picks before the tournament, but not their best tournaments.
Well, in perfect hindsight, I'm proud of you, Maurice. You did good. You did good. And so did your pick.
Thank you, yes. But I will say that before this tournament, I was definitely going to pick Carissa before day one. And then when we had the lead in, and then I saw Irina's face. And I looked at her and I said, Irina looks different. She looked different. She looked so fresh. And now we found out she lost 20 pounds. She's been walking every day. She looked so well. And, and also when I was introducing her with the 7 championships with all those champions, I said, there's something that looks really different about Irina. It just the play itself and the rating and all that went out the window, and the failures 4 years in a row. And I said, she just looks well. And turns out that she was, and that's really great. And I think that's the most heartwarming thing of all.
Indeed, I completely agree. Hearing her say that she's finally feeling better after months of battling long haul COVID. I mean, that and the 8th championship title, just keeping in perspective that health is the most important thing in life. But
absolutely,
when you have it and you also win a championship, well, that's just beautiful smiles, beautiful celebration by our new champion, Grandmaster Irina Krush. And guys, it's always so fun to call this with you, even though it's not in person. This one has been really special.
They're all special, Ed, but I agree with you. This one was something special to it. We've crowned our 4th champion, but we're not finished with October, Jen. We're going to take a break, a one-day break, I believe, and we're going to be back for the Open U.S. Championship, Invitational Open Championship, and that will be also a 12-player round-robin event.
That's
and
right.
We've seen cutthroat chess already, guys. It's going to be on. I'm sure those guys are waiting in the wings like, okay. It's all what
My turn.
It's on. Tag me. I want to get in the ring. Let's go.
Right.
I can't wait for that one, guys. Thank you to the entire team at St. Louis Chess Club, of course, the Singfields for sponsoring this, and to everyone, to Tom, Kevin, Marcus. Congrats on VChess to Marcus and Aaron, to Kostya Kavutsky on our Twitter feeds, and to Verusian and Kite. What a team that makes this all possible.
And to you both, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure working alongside you both.
See you guys on Monday.
Absolutely.
Good night, everyone.
Let's get your rest, guys. Good night.